Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
We are here.
We got an empty chair 2 days in a row to start the
Where's
show.
Mike Polk?
I don't know. He left the country is what I'm hearing.
He's in traffic on Highway 90.
Mike's looking good today.
Hey, man. Yeah,
I knew Mike was thin, but this is ridiculous.
Busy show today. Very busy show today. Obviously, the Myles Garrett car accident yesterday is our big news. We're going to dive into that in just a second. Browns defense versus the Falcons offense. Guys, this Falcons offense at a glance can do some damage. They've got a good run game. Marcus Mariota is sort of a dual threat, running it, passing it. Their offense is middle of the road, but they can put some points up as they've shown this year. They're 1-2 coming off a win over Seattle. Aditi's going to join the program. That's coming up in the second hour of the show. And also, we're going to talk Cavs and Guardians, and I think this is going to be one of the most interesting discussions of the day. Which of the three Cleveland sports teams, pro sports teams, have the best chance to win the title first? I think they're all fairly well positioned. Yeah. But which one is in the best position to win one first? Could you imagine if we had multiple titles in a year? We almost did in 2016.
Yeah. By the way, it's the first time we could have the first time in ever
that we can have that legitimate
conversation where you can make a case for all three.
And remember,
there's been two at times.
Yes, but never
not three.
Never all three.
And we was talking about it earlier. I said I don't even know if the city can support three teams that are good at the same time. So we never had it. But here you go.
Yeah, we'll find out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We dive in with the single car accident yesterday involving Myles Garrett. If you saw pictures of the car, and I know we have them. If you saw pictures of the car, it's incredible that he's already out of the hospital today.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that thing. It rolled multiple times. We're hearing reports that he perhaps swerved to avoid hitting an animal. We know that it was bad weather.
Yeah.
That's a serious car crash, folks. The fact that, as I said, he's released from the hospital is certainly great news. First and foremost, we want to put this out there. Regardless of his availability to the football team, there's major concern about his health and also the health of his passenger.
Yeah.
And that's what's really important here. But again, released from the hospital. I thought it was interesting that his agent released a statement that said there were no broken bones. I read into that a little bit because it leaves everything else wide open.
Sure.
Now, obviously, it's nothing very serious because he's been released from the hospital.
That's his
but
agent.
You can see the statement there on the screen. The fact that it just said no broken bones and nothing else about any internal injuries, perhaps ligament damage, muscle damage. That's what we're going to have to wait and see for, guys. But
the good news, Jay, is if it was anything kind of life-threatening or that serious,
it's not life-threatening.
He wouldn't be out of the hospital.
He is out. Yeah.
So that's a great sign.
That's where I think where we all collectively exhaled.
Yeah, sure.
Because he's out. Now, from a football standpoint, because this is obviously a big part of the Browns discussion, and I imagine we'll find out his availability later in the week. Clowney, still we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. We do know Walker's out, and he's not going to be. And we also know Winovich is out.
JOK.
So
don't know what he's doing.
JOK is up in the air.
Yeah.
If he's out, guys, how does that change what this team does defensively? And who the hell picks up the slack?
Gee, to me, it's a disaster from a football standpoint, right? I mean, especially if Clowney doesn't play either. But Myles Garrett is by miles the most, ironically enough, the most important player on their defense, and especially in their front seven. They will. I mean, I don't see. You never know. Whenever something seems so obvious one way, it sometimes goes the other.
You're right. Yeah.
Like my first thought is, without Myles Garrett, they're going to get zero pressure on the Falcons. How are they going to get any pressure? They don't have anybody that's any good. If you don't have Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, who's your best defensive lineman playing in the game?
Yeah, question mark.
You can't even really name anybody.
No, question mark.
Chase Winovich is on IR.
I mean, there's nobody. So
does it change? Do they start blitzing?
Oh, well, listen, to me.
I thought that would have happened last week.
I did too.
Oh, this is mandatory. You're going to see Joe Woods. Sometimes necessity is the, what does they say?
The mother of invention.
And right now, this is the most necessity that he's ever had as a coach.
Sure.
He's always, think about this, you've always been an individual who's had a guy on the other side that you know you got an elite pass rusher. You had 2 of them for the last 2 years. So now you're out with those guys, and you already know that your defensive tackles, we talked about it last week, aren't up to snuff. So what you're going to have to do is he's going to have to be multiple. He's going to have to break all the tendencies, right? They know what he likes to run. They know he likes to cover 3 and cover 4 stuff. But guess what we're doing? We're breaking tendencies on that. Now we can play more man-to-man. Now we have to bring blitzes from other places. We have to be multiple in what we do. I wouldn't even mind them coming out in a 3-4 alignment just to break tendency and say, hey, you guys are going to have to figure it out on the run, Atlanta, because if they come out here and run that same old stuff, they're not going to get no pressure, and I don't think they can stop the run with their defensive tackles. So it's going to be a game where Joe Woods is going to have to earn his money, and the Browns are going to have to play a damn good football game if they want to win in Atlanta.
Well, this happens in the NFL. You go to the next man up mentality. You always hear that. And normally, the team has a next man up that you at least know and recognize.
Right.
We've said all
Mike
along,
Polk?
Hey, Mike.
There he is.
Hey. He teleported into the set.
By the way, Jay, with the next man up, right? Like,
who is the next man up?
here's something interesting.
I don't even know.
Usually, it's only a quarterback injury that will change the point spread, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
There are rare exceptions to that. But like last week, the Charger line was going around a lot because you didn't know if Justin Herbert was going to play. That might make it 7 points. The Browns yesterday afternoon, right before the Myles Garrett car accident, were a 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
I just looked at the line now. They're a 1.5-point favorite. Now, I don't know if those whole 2 points is Myles Garrett, but usually a defensive lineman doesn't change the line at all. And maybe it was already going to move a little.
This
but to
your
move
normal,
2 points in less than 24 hours without a quarterback injury?
I think what that tells you is obviously this isn't your normal defensive end. And also, with the uncertainty of Jadeveon on the other side, opponents are going to look at this defense and the way they decide to attack it much differently.
Definitely.
Mariota is going to have more time to stand back in the pocket and find open receivers. He's always a threat to run the ball if the pocket breaks down. He may not need to do that now. He may be able to stand back there and pick a spot and let it sling.
Imagine being, real quick, Falcons right now trying to determine how to play this team when you don't know whether Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, or JOK are going to be in the game.
By the way, I didn't also, we forgot about, not that he's been any really good, but one of their starting defensive tackles, Taven Bryan, is banged up too.
Yeah, I know. It's a mess on that whole defensive front.
Yep.
And at this point, if you're Kevin Stefanski, you're probably trying to figure out exactly what Mike just said. The Falcons are trying to figure out who they're going to go against. If you're Kevin Stefanski, you're trying to patchwork a defense together. You start scanning the waiver wire for guys that might be available, quick calls that you can bring in. I took a look. It's pretty slim pickings.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Sue before, and Dominic and Sue.
That move I thought would have happened by now if it was going to.
Yeah.
I was just stuck on 90 behind because somebody totally Myles Garretted on 90 somewhere. So I'm just sitting there and listening to sports radio, and they're going, I don't know, Olivier Vernon? I'm like, oh, God, is this where we're at? He's been out for 2 years.
Yeah.
And you're like, is he available?
Either tore an ACL
He did,
or
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was
an ACL 2 years ago, but didn't he also have an Achilles injury?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So, I mean, when he was here, he was productive.
Good. Yeah.
But it's like, why isn't he on a roster right now?
Well, I imagine
That's
because
where
of
we're
the
at.
injuries, yeah.
Right.
But you know what? It's worth bringing him in for a workout.
I mean, at this point, they got to bring in some guys. They got to have just bodies, period.
Yeah,
you want someone with experience. But, yeah, I mean, now, the good news is, while Atlanta has some talent on offense, certainly, and their offense has been pretty good, their defense has been awful, but their offense has been pretty good, Marcus Mariota is not like a deep go down. Because my fear is, if you have an offense now and you're playing the Browns this week, I can now run some more longer developing plays because there's going to be no pressure, or you would think there's going to be no pressure. Marcus Mariota is not really that type of quarterback that's going deep down the field.
No.
They're throwing more shorter passes and running the ball and using his athletic ability to get him out of the pocket. But if you're Mariota, though, you're going into this game thinking, like, I'm going to have all time to throw.
Yeah, you are thinking that. What's interesting to me is when Deshaun Watson was out, the defense stood up and said, we got you.
Yeah.
We've got you. And they really haven't. I mean, they haven't had their backs.
They have not.
They've won 2 games out of their first 3 despite that. What's interesting now is the offense, which has played far better than we expected, They're, I think, 5th in the NFL in total points or total yards, one or the other. So now you've got the offense. They're going to have to stand up and say, D, we've got you. And now they've got to play even better than they have heretofore.
Did you think we'd be saying, well, we just got to lean on Jacoby Brissett until the defense heals up?
I mean, I don't think you can ask Jacoby Brissett to do any more than he's done.
He's got to continue to play at that level.
Yeah.
Shoot, right now, he the best thing smoking right now. Like, if you look at this, you look at between the offense and the defense, you like, okay, well, I feel more comfortable saying Jacoby Brissett will give me some more points than I say the defense stopping anybody. And here's the thing. Marcus Mariota could say, okay, I could go deep. He could go intermediate. They can run the ball. Cordell Patterson is second in the lead in rushing.
He's averaging 100 yards a game. Over 100 yards a game.
Yeah, the guy came out of nowhere last year, right? He'd been a journeyman until last year.
I kind of think what we finally figured out is that he was just miscast all along.
Yeah,
he was a wide receiver kick
Nobody
return
knew how
guy.
to use him. Nobody was
And
creative.
the Falcons get him, and the Falcons just run him like a lead back, and look what he's doing.
I still don't think the Falcons
by the way, he's got more yards per carry than Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
At 6.2.
Obviously very impressive. I still don't think the Falcons are a very good team. I still expect the Browns to win this. I think the Falcons have one of the worst defensive teams in the league. And I just don't think their offense is that good. I'm not buying it. First of all, I think here's the problem is, number one, people make way too many sweeping judgments after 3 weeks in the NFL. We should know better by now not to do that. If what you see in the first 3 weeks backs up what you thought going into the season, that I get. Yeah. But if what you see in the first 3 weeks is diametrically opposed to what you thought was going to happen, then you shouldn't change your mind on something. Doesn't mean you were wrong. You could have been wrong, and now, hey, it's better than you thought.
It's just too small a sample size.
It's too small a sample size. We don't know. We don't know yet. Like the teams that weren't good last year, or you didn't expect to be good this year, if they're off to a 2-1 or a 3-0 start, we don't know yet that they're good. We know that they're off to a good start. That's a big difference.
I look at it like this.
Yeah.
Everything week to week. If you're looking at the Atlanta Falcons and what they got enough weapons to beat you. Drake London is playing like one of the best rookie receivers. They got Kyle Pitts, who's a mismatch on a lot of different linebackers, and they got a mobile quarterback. So they don't have to.
But he's not good, G. He's not a good player.
But Joe Flacco wasn't good neither.
Right?
For
one game he was good.
But here's what we learned from that.
Yeah.
He's an NFL quarterback. On any given day, he could stand up and have a standout day. And now there are circumstances here that say that could happen. They're not going to get a pass rush. The back end of the Browns defense has been wildly confused at times, and JOK is a question mark.
That's
so
fair.
You've got all three phases of that defense.
And we've watched this defense just give up big chunks to quarterbacks when they get out of the pocket again and again and
Baker,
again. And that's Mariota's
and
specialty right now.
And so I would say that Mariota is in the Baker and the Flacco neighborhood.
Totally.
Well, there was no excuse for Flacco. Flacco stinks. He's old. He's not good. He was terrible against the Bengals last week.
Look good against us. I mean,
that was the one game in the last 10 years.
He threw for 1 million yards in week one, too. Now he threw it 50 times.
It was all in garbage time. And
the point is we make bad quarterbacks. We have the capability to make bad quarterbacks look good.
But that's the thing.
Except Mitch Trubisky. We could not make Mitch Trubisky look good.
We got to realize when we're thinking about this team that they have not played against a good quarterback yet.
They have not.
They're not this week. Next week, I don't know what Justin Herbert did not look like himself this past week.
He is not himself.
And then the week after that, you're probably playing Brian Hoyer.
Yes. It almost looks certain because they said for Jones multiple games.
Yeah.
They also said that the injury is the kind that players oftentimes get surgery for. First of all, high ankle sprain, you might as well break it. It's that bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he couldn't put any weight on it when he was leaving. So it could, in fact, be Brian Hoyer, who's now 47 or 48?
49.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
The storylines continue, though, with this Browns team as far as, now we know we had Baker. Now we're going to bring Brian Hoyer back, who's been here 6 times, and we keep playing him. And we had, T.J. Watt out for Pittsburgh. Everything just this weird narrative of this season of all these weird things happening that usually happen to the Browns are actually happening for the Browns still. And I'm not saying Mac Jones was great or anything like that, but I'd love to play Brian Hoyer. Wouldn't you take that against the Patriots?
Yeah. And a banged up Justin Herbert too. That's helpful also.
Herbert, I still can't believe that he played last week.
Yeah.
If you were watching the week before when he took the shot to the ribs.
Yeah.
Yep. And somehow this dude's tough as nails because he had no time to get a shot. Yeah, but not last week. Like when the injury happened.
Right.
A play or two after the injury happened, he threw a 45-yard dart on a line.
Yeah.
And I'm
that
like,
was the best throw of the year against the Chiefs, by the way.
It was.
After
It was
he got hit,
unbelievable.
that throw was unbelievable.
And he made it in excruciating pain. The dude's pain tolerance must be through the roof. I'm sure they shot him up before last week's game.
Yeah.
But to your point, he was not the same guy.
No, he wasn't.
So they are catching some breaks here.
Are they Baker Mayfielding him, Justin Herbert, where they're putting him out there when he's not because he wants to?
He still plays decent.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I think
He
it was just an injury where, sometimes you see something with your eyes and you're like, well, Tua on Sunday. You're watching it with your eyes and you're like, oh, he's not coming back today. There's no way.
Right.
He looked like he'd been drugged.
Yeah.
And then he's back out on the field, and I'm like, who cleared this guy?
I still can't believe the Bills lost that game. I don't know how that happened.
I can't either. I can't believe.
Neither can I.
By the way, I cannot believe that the Ravens-Bills game, which is a great game, is on at the same time as the Browns.
Yeah, no, it stinks.
That sucks. But
well,
anyway.
I'll tell you, the networks in general have put this Browns-Falcons game at the absolute lowest priority.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it will be shown in two markets.
Yep.
Atlanta and Cleveland.
Right. Solomon Wilcots is calling it.
I mean,
no,
I just made
Beth
that up.
Mowens.
We always got
wow.
Beth Mowens on the call.
So she done moved up from the college joint.
Yep, she's doing some NFL games here and there. Fans have a very strong opinion of Beth.
Are the guys really cool with it? Are the dudes cool with it?
Well, I can't say that.
That's
I
weird.
can't say that's the case. I worked with Beth for a while. She's a lovely, lovely woman. But it's
hey, you like some play-by-play guys?
Some you like, some you don't.
You think there might be a little sexism there, that some guys are mad that she's calling games?
You know what I think it is? I think it's the voice. That's what I always hear. The people that would tell me as if I was programming her on games, the worst thing ever is when you're answering for coworkers' decisions.
Right.
We've all done it. You're getting texts. What the hell? Why is this going on?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't make that decision. I happened to work at the company that did.
Yeah.
Well, whenever Beth would do a game, my phone would blow up.
Yeah.
Like I did it.
That is a masked. That's a
course
masked way of saying of being sexist.
Of course,
though,
some of it's
Well,
sexist.
most of the complaint was I just can't take the voice.
Yeah,
The
because
voice,
it's a
the
woman's voice.
I always thought I always liked her games. I don't know, maybe because she did a lot of Mac games or something like that.
She did a lot of Mac games.
A lot of. So I grew up listening to it. Right?
She worked with Joey Galloway for years doing Mac games, and Joey speaks very highly of her.
Yeah, I like
and if you can get past the voice, she does call a good game.
Yeah, I think she's
but
fine.
The complaint was always that it was hard to get
voice,
used to the
yeah.
voice. Well, you'll hear it all on Sunday. Trust me. Jump on Twitter.
Yeah.
You'll
Oh
see
yeah.
it.
No thanks.
Twitter
I'll
will be
stay away
broken.
from that. Appreciate it. Then we'll just put her through one of those husky voice modulators, so it sounds like a guy, so people can feel more
And
comfortable.
people would never know that,
Yeah,
and they wouldn't know how to complain.
Sexism solved.
Yeah, there you go. What's next? World peace? What do you got, Mike?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah, so it's a low priority game, is what we're saying. The
Yeah,
Browns
it is a
game.
low
Obviously,
priority
nobody
game.
cares about it. Nobody wants to watch it.
No.
Yeah.
Except us.
Hey, we don't care about that. We need to get that 3-1.
Browns need to win the
low,
game.
Low priority 3-1 work.
Yeah, they all
priority.
feel like playoff games when you're playing without your.
Got to win the game. That's all that matters.
I mean, can you imagine though, guys? If this is what the 2022 bingo card deals us, that we're now without just we don't know. So this is all speculation. But if it turns out that Garrett misses time and perhaps misses a season over this, the 2022 bingo card would have thrown at us no quarterback. Your second best player on the team is lost for a period of time. These things start to mount up, and then you start questioning. We keep calling it the race to six. The race to six. Where are the 6 wins going to come from? It gets tougher and tougher.
They got to beat Atlanta and New England. Those are 2 games you got to win.
Must-haves.
That gets you to 4, and then you hope you could win 2 of the other. What is it? 6 games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the Bengals. You got the Ravens. You've got the Patriots. Or no, the
Chargers, the Dolphins,
the Buccaneers
the Chiefs,
are
and
in
the
there.
Bucks.
Yeah. And the Buccaneers, they're passing it. Tom Brady's ranked, I think.
Their offense has been bad so
he's
far.
He's 25th in the league, I think.
All
in
their
passing.
receivers have been out.
They're all dinged,
Hey,
except for Evans, who got suspended.
Hey, if he played one more game like this, John Costco came on here yesterday and said, hey, Jacoby Brissett's playing like a top 3 quarterback.
I don't want to go that far.
We got to stop.
We got to stop. We do have to pump the brakes on that, because you know what happens? Expectations. And then he goes out there and shows us that, the old Jacoby Brissett. We're like, wait, what happened?
We got to be realistic. All right, I don't want to be
Look
the
at that.
Nancy.
92.5.
By the way, you know who's dead last in the NFL PFF grade?
Your boy?
Who?
Baker.
Look at the
Dead
smile.
last in the
You see the
NFL.
smile on his face?
Look,
He's so happy.
He's not even in the
I
top.
can't believe they
I
won.
set him up for that too.
They
Here you go.
had a defensive
get
touchdown
it,
and they
boo.
had one long play.
Did he have another long touchdown pass? I didn't watch the game.
It was
at
a
all.
screen play.
It was a screen pass that the kid, what's his name? LaVisca Chenault.
yeah.
So he had yards after
It was
contact.
like
or-
70 or
I think
something.
he had like 70 yards passing before that play.
They're a mess.
Yeah.
When you look at who the Browns have played this
I know,
year,
it's real bad.
They're awful. They're all 1-2.
And here's the thing, we're 2-1.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
and this is against by far the easiest stretch of the schedule that we'll have all year. This is like a preseason, really.
Yeah.
And after this week, after Atlanta, it gets so difficult. Let's see where Jacoby is on the PFF grades against some quality opponents.
Yeah, like
because we haven't seen one
We
yet.
want to look. Chargers got a good defense. They got about 5-6 guys over
But
there.
Pitts is hurt. They just
true.
lost Slater.
You never know,
but it's
right?
Bosa out.
I mean, we don't know. He's
But
yeah.
overall,
Knocked
when you
up.
play the Chargers, the Patriots, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, those are better quality opponents than you've played so far.
Yeah.
So even if there's some guys out, their second-level guys are better than the second-level guys
Where
we're playing
we
now.
talk about the
It's
race
better
for 6.
tests.
If you could put the first page of that schedule back
Yeah.
up, Steve. So here would be my question. It's dangerous to do, but let's just say that they
Schedule
go out
game.
and ball out against Atlanta, and let's
Right.
just say, because we all said they're
Yeah.
going to be 3-1 after
Right.
week 4. So let's say they are. Now turn to page 2. They're at 3. They need
Right.
3 in the race to 6.
Yeah, now-
so what? Obviously, New England.
That's a game they definitely should win.
Well,
I mean,
they better.
Brian Hoyer, it's at home. I
But
mean, you should win
but
that game.
The Chargers, Ravens,
Chargers
and
is
the Bengals.
tough, but we'll see what Herbert looks like. Baltimore's offense looks phenomenal, but their defense has been bad so far. The
Yeah, they
Bengals'
missed
offense has been
Wink Martindale
so-so, although the
badly
Bengals'
in
offense
Baltimore.
was much better this week. Bengals' defense has actually been very good so
They'll
far.
be underdogs in 3 of the 4 games there. The Chargers, Baltimore, and
Oh,
Cincinnati,
yeah.
they'll be dogs
I
in
don't
those.
know that they'll. Well, I
They're
guess
a
it
point and a
depends.
half favorite against Atlanta. They'll be dogs in 3
Well,
of those
it
4.
depends on injuries and who's playing
Sure.
and who's not.
That,
but, yeah.
Okay, so you maybe have 1 against New England. That gets you to 4.
Yeah.
Now, in the
Yeah,
next
you're gonna have to
3,
pull some upsets.
you need 2 against Miami, Buffalo, and Tampa Bay. I don't know where they come
Well, I
from.
mean, Jay, they could beat the Bengals at home.
They could.
beat the Chargers.
They could.
At
I'm just
home.
saying
I mean, those are games
they'll
they
be
could win.
No
likely
gimmies.
be underdogs.
But
Yeah.
those are tough. They're tough games.
And so are
Yeah.
Miami, Buffalo, and Tampa. I just don't know
It's
how
tough.
you get to 6. It's
It's
going to be
tough.
very.
You
Yeah.
gotta have
This
Myles.
game
You
is
gotta
so
have Myles
important on
Garrett.
Sunday.
You gotta
Gotta
have
win
Myles
this
Garrett.
game.
And the reason I did this little exercise is to show it's going to be difficult to get to 6. You're going to have to beat some really good teams to get to 6. That's
Yeah.
if they beat Atlanta.
Hey, just like the Jets beat the Browns when that shouldn't have happened. The Browns. First of all, those games that the Browns are going to be underdogs, they're not going to be big underdogs.
No, they'll probably be 3 to
You know,
4 to 5 somewhere.
Maybe
in there.
at Kansas City, they'll be a big underdog, right? That game's at Kansas City, I believe.
We don't play Kansas City.
No, we don't.
Yeah, go back. Show me the graphic again.
We don't
guys.
play
No,
Kansas City.
Kansas City's not on the schedule.
Oh, what the hell am I talking about?
Yeah,
I don't know. You
Last
thinking
year.
Buffalo?
Oh,
or-
Buffalo. I'm sorry. That's
Yeah.
Buffalo. So the game that's at Buffalo, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm
they'll
pretty
be a
sure it's at
significant dog in that
They
game.
will.
Probably
Safe to
a
say.
touchdown,
I
right?
think they're going to be
weeks
in,
at Miami. At
I think
Buffalo.
after this week, they might be favored in 2 of the next 7
Right,
games.
but like, even if they're an underdog to the Bengals at home, which it depends how the Bengals play between now and then, right? The
Yeah.
Bengals are playing Thursday Night Football against the Dolphins. If they
Yeah.
lose that game and they're 1-3, who knows? But as of now, if you made that spread, I think the Bengals. I don't know that the Bengals would be favored in Cleveland. If they would, it'd be maybe only by a point or 2.
That'd be something if they weren't.
The Browns can beat everybody on that schedule. They beat everybody on that schedule.
So you got us 10-1.
No, I mean they can beat everybody. I didn't say
It's
they
the
would.
NFL. Most
Yeah,
teams can beat most
anybody- yeah,
teams,
anybody on any Sunday.
But the Browns play away
Yeah.
where it's uncomfortable because
They're not blowing anybody out.
They're going to limit the amount of times the other team gets the ball. So if the team comes out and they don't hit it running, and the Browns get to a point where they're up 10, they could be up, and they still got the ball with the way they play football, that's uncomfortable for anybody.
It is,
You start
yeah.
looking around like, well, when we going to get the ball back?
And
Our
that
possession,
travels, too, by
That
the
travels
way.
everywhere. And so if you can keep, now the point is, they need to lean on the defense because they can't give up quick strike plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they want to give up touchdowns or play ball control, you got to make them go 80 yards.
Right.
You got third down conversions, no big chunk plays. But they could beat everybody on that team. I watched Tampa Bay. They had a bunch of guys out there. They had Gage out there moving around. I mean, the Buccaneers didn't look like a well-oiled machine.
Well,
or
we get
anything.
them weeks from now,
Yeah,
and by
it's
then
early.
you'd think they would be healthy.
It's early, right? Who's looking great right now? I mean, Baltimore,
Miami.
Yeah, Miami's looked really good so far.
But there's only 2 undefeateds left.
I'm still not a full believer in what's his name?
Tua.
I wouldn't say Miami looked great, by the way. They got outgained and outpossessioned.
Yeah, but against Buffalo.
But they won. They found a way to win the game.
Mike, you beat Buffalo.
Yeah, no, you're doing something right. And here's the thing.
I'm not saying they're bad. I just Buffalo,
that Miami, that cover 0 defense, can you explain to me why teams are struggling so hard against this cover 0 defense?
Well,
I mean, they've got the personnel to play it, and few teams do.
I did a whole video on this 2 years ago, about a year ago.
Roll it.
Roll the beautiful bean footage. No, but
it was probably when they shut down Baltimore.
Yeah, it was when they shut down Baltimore.
They literally played 9 in the box, cover 0 the entire game.
Because the football is a lot to, it's back in the day. Remember they said the Red Coats is coming? And when the Revolutionary War happened, the British used to line their people up in the front of the line and just take turns shooting. And then the Indians figured out, well, hold on. What if we just move around and just do a bunch of stuff?
Hide in the woods.
And just get them when they sleep or something. Like that.
You're not playing fair.
Why ain't you lining
up? Get in a line.
Get in a line and let's kill you. That's not the way it works. The NFL is exactly like that. They do a lot of gentleman stuff where it's like, you're like, hey, bro, I'm coming after you every single play. But then they figure, well, if I come after him every single play, I'm going to give something up. No, you're going to give something up regardless. But you can make them mess up because the offensive lineman does not know who's coming. So when your protection schemes are there and there's 7 dudes, and every single time it's a different person that shows up.
It's unreal.
You can't block all of them. And then you can't diagnose. You're just guessing. So somebody comes free, and the free guy has to make the play. Because if the free guy doesn't make the play, it's 0 coverage in the back.
And that's why the personnel to play that defense is so critical.
Yeah. And the coaching. I don't think that we've shown the defensive discipline to be able to make those switches that quickly and communicate that.
Well, our guys definitely.
That's what I'm saying.
The Browns are going to have to make some big adjustment. I know you're talking about Miami's defense right now, but for getting back to the Browns defense, though, they are going to, I'm not going to make an extreme change like this, obviously, but they got to do something because, like, the Browns defense.
I'd be shocked, though, if they went up to a 3-4.
Could really struggle right now.
Yeah,
of course.
Really struggle.
I mean, they kind of, look at.
They're already not playing that well.
Yeah, look at Denzel. I mean, these guys they're not playing up to their ability, and they're all dinged up now. It's a mess.
You have to do stuff where people don't expect it. Like, if you're good enough to just line up and say, I'm lining up in base, I'm rushing forward, you can't stop us. You got to have studs, man. That means you got to win one-on-one blocks. That means you got to lock down on the outside. That means the backers got to be able to get all the calls in. You got to be able to do some stuff where you can give your guys an advantage to be able to play with dudes like that.
Yeah.
If you cut down the amount of time they got to throw the ball, that helps your coverage. It also helps the fact that, now the quarterback is confused. He's holding the ball and he's moving around. So the thing is, Joe Woods is going to have to break some tendencies, and he's not going to be able to lean on the fact that he has Myles Garrett now as a crutch.
I mean, you could be without 5 out of your 6 starters between the D-line and linebacker.
Oof.
5 out of 6 you might be without.
Yeah,
and the only one you'll have is who's their other starter at defensive tackle? I can't even think of who it is.
Jordan Elliott.
Jordan Elliott.
But he don't do nothing.
Guys,
that might be your only starter in your front.
That's a tough ass.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
They might get smoked. Now that I think
Let me
about
ask you
it.
guys this, though,
do you
real
have
quick.
McNuggets, do you have Ndamukong Suh's number back there?
Yeah.
Can we
I'll
get him
work
on the horn?
I'll work on it, but I got a question about that, though. So Joker status up in the air, obviously no Walker. Kyle Pitts was finally utilized in this offense last week, and I know he lines up on the outside more, but he's as big of a mismatch nightmare as
that's going to be a problem.
He has like 1 touchdown, though, in his career, so let's not get carried away.
Yeah, but he's talking about matchup.
I'm just saying the
great
matchup.
talent.
Just from a matchup
How
standpoint.
will the Browns try and neutralize what Kyle Pitts brings to the field?
Yeah, it is a matchup situation. I mean, that's what football is.
I like that. Now, listen, this don't get twisted. I like Phillips. Phillips came in and was the player of the game now. As far as athleticism goes, Phillips has way more. Anthony Walker has, some things as far as leadership, but as far as basically being a guy who can run the people, a guy that can cover people, a guy that's athletic, I think Phillips, and the guy that we miss all the time, and I think he plays well. Taki.
Yeah, he's had moments.
He's solid.
Yeah.
He's picked the ball off. He's come up big in some spots. And
he's improved, certainly.
He's not a guy that's going to wow you with anything.
Yeah.
But one thing that I agree, I think he can tackle the ball. He can play covers a little bit. I saw a play last week where he came in the game and he did a tremendous job of being able to get back 20 yards and just be in the way of a seam route. And so some of those things are going to need to be done because they haven't used Kyle Pitts all that well. But guess what? They're playing the Browns this week.
How does he only have, I think he has 1 or 2 touchdowns.
I don't understand it. They didn't use him that well last year.
Do you know, did your PFF guy mention at all why Phillips, who filled the stat sheet, and I'm with you, I'm just watching the game with my eyes, and this guy's everywhere. But he had, I think, the 6th, he was 6th highest on just the Browns in the PFF grade. And meantime, Myles Garrett grades out as the highest defensive player in the NFL again. And
no, not in the NFL.
Or for the Browns. Okay, for the Browns.
Yeah.
What was he, 82?
82, yeah.
And he was the highest grade for the Browns.
Yeah.
Did he mention at all why Phillips graded so poorly but appeared to play so well?
We didn't ask him specifically about Phillips, but when they look at when they look at the PFF grade, they break it down into multiple things. It's not about how many plays you make. They go in a percentage. So say, for instance, you play 10 plays. If you do the wrong thing on 3 out of those 10 plays, you already start down at what, 70%?
Yeah.
So it works in a way. If you miss tackles, you get minuses. If, say, for instance, you are if you're in the right gap, you get a plus or minus. If you get driven out of your gap, it's a plus or minus. So there's a lot of different things that happen, especially with corners.
None of those great. I mean, Myles Garrett, even 81 is like a solid grade, but
it's
not
a solid. It's not
no.
crazy.
Same thing with Fields. All the other grades are bad.
The one that really jumps out at me is Denzel. I mean, what in the hell was he doing?
What is going on? What's really going on?
That's a great question.
There's got to be something going on.
There is something going
right?
on.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an injury. This is just strictly a guess. I just feel like it's got to be something with him.
Yes.
Something personal because this isn't Denzel Ward.
Right.
He's been
I just saw your
awful.
finger wag where you had an idea. What do you think this is?
Well, somebody called me. Somebody said, "Yo, G. Bush, I seen him in the club yesterday. It was a K. Michelle." One of my,
is that right?
my callers. I got ravens and birds everywhere now for some reason. I'm like, I think this.
What day was this?
This like Saturday.
So that's before the game.
Yeah,
He's in the club.
This ain't Saturday. That's what I'm hearing. I'm like,
not a good scene.
Don't know that for a fact.
Don't know that for the fact. That's hearsay,
speculation.
allegedly. But here's what I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say about Denzel Ward. See, sometimes like when you get and Brad talks about it all the time, man. Like when you get that contract, it changes everything. Like it's like. Now people know you got 100-some million. You know what I'm saying? Like he was already rich, but now you're rich.
Now you're dealing with rich people problems.
You got rich people problems. And a lot of the stuff that come along with somebody knowing exactly how much you make is you either got some good stuff or some bad stuff. And 9 times out of 10, it's all bad, but just kind of switched up and people make you think it's good. So when you get out there, he could have went out and played freely. It's always different hunting that goal. You get that goal, right? You're like, oh, I'm here. I'm finally doing my – and then you realize, oh, snap, I got these requests. I got all these stuff that I got to do.
A lot of distractions.
A lot of distractions.
Yeah.
And a lot of pressure because now you got this check and you got to earn it. You're not a rookie anymore. You're not trying to prove yourself. You've proven yourself enough that they gave you this enormous contract and now you actually have to live up to it. And I think the pressure's getting to him and you need to look at his social media if you need proof of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he shouldn't be even looking at it, let alone commenting on it or getting hurt.
I'd like to see him get off of it.
And there's no excuse this week for him to have a bad game. Drake London, I know he's a talent, but he's a rookie.
Yeah,
he's a rookie, but he's averaging 70 yards a game.
Touchdowns in the last 2 games.
To do that to come in.
Can you even name another wide receiver on the Falcons?
No.
Olmidio Zacchaeus, I think, is one of their guys.
I don't know who the hell they have.
Pronouncing it wrong.
I
don't even know who their other starting wide receiver
though.
is. I think it's Olmidio Zacchaeus.
I got it.
Let me look it up.
I have it.
You have a depth chart?
Yeah, somewhere in here.
The Falcons receivers outside of Drake London and Kyle Pitts are very limited. Let's leave it at that. Calvin Ridley's suspended this year, remember, for gambling. So without him,
Earl is one of our producers on the show. He just sent this text. This is interesting.
Yeah.
According to PFF, if Taki played more qualifying snaps, he'd be a top 10 linebacker.
Yeah.
So let's make sure he plays more.
I mean, you don't just worry about Drake London. Obviously, you worry about Kaderl Hodge, Brian Edwards, Damiere Byrd. And, oh my gosh, and they have Jared Bernhardt.
Oh, just Olmidio Zacchaeus.
Good Lord.
That's where Bernhardt is. I've been wondering where he was.
They don't have
I just made up 2 of those names.
They got nobody. You think the Browns have issues?
Yeah.
They got nobody.
I hope
so because we had the lowest rated cornerback in the league.
But you know what they're saying on an Atlanta sports talk radio show right now? Who do they have at receiver except for Amari Cooper? Let's look at these guys.
Nobody.
Anthony Schwartz. Didn't he play in the SEC a couple years ago and wasn't that good there?
And their defense is giving up massive big plays the whole year.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, he's still in the league?
Yeah, the Atlanta version of this show is just tearing up the Browns right now, but with a Southern accent.
I mean, actually, you're right.
Except the Browns have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Cordero Patterson's a nice player. He's not as good as those
He's not
guys.
Chubb and Hunt, no.
I know he's playing great.
Here's what we can deduce.
Yeah.
We need to see Nick Chubb play every play of the game on both offense and defense.
Yeah,
he needs to fill in for
Nick
Myles
Chubb
Garrett.
would be a great linebacker. I have no doubt in my mind that he could fill in and be a very,
He probably
very
would.
productive
This is a
linebacker.
weird game because the Falcons' defense stinks. I'm really worried that the Browns' defense is going to be bad in this game. And yet, the Browns' offense it's a great running game. The passing game has been pretty good so far, but you can't expect them to put up 1 million points. I don't buy that the Falcons' offense is as good as it's been. They can't. They don't have a good passing offense. Mariota stinks, but they've run it well. So
they easily could have lost to Seattle. Just like the Browns could be 3-0 or they could be 1-2. The Falcons could easily be 0-3.
I did see that they beat the spread all 3 games so far, though. Even the 2 that they lost,
their
they
offense
still
has
beat
been
the
good.
spread.
Their
so
offense has been
what I'm saying is
surprisingly good.
they're outdoing expectations.
Yeah.
So people are underestimating them a little bit, and maybe I'm assuming we're doing.
I
that
still
too.
think when it's all said and done, they're a 5-6 win team.
It's like you said, though, beginning of the season, we trying to make judgments 3 games into the season. Like, do you guys really think at the end of the season we're going to be like, can you guys believe that Miami's undefeated still? Like, they're not. That's not going to
I think Cincinnati's going to beat Miami.
Yeah,
I do too.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. I'm really starting to be like, for NFL games.
Yeah.
I'm not prognosticating over 2 weeks.
Part of the job.
I mean, it is part of the job.
Oh, over 2 weeks.
Over
ahead?
2 weeks ahead.
It's impossible. It changes so quickly.
It's too much involved. Like
one key injury
the
is a
matchups.
huge difference.
It's just, and then plus there's games where you just like, who would have thought that? Like, nobody picks the Colts to beat the Chiefs.
No,
Nobody's picking that.
No.
And the Colts didn't even play that well.
No.
Matt Ryan looks completely shot.
It's just
He does.
It's one of them.
You
joints.
thought it was just the Falcons. He'll go to the Colts. He'll have a better line. He'll be better. No, he's been worse.
Josh McDaniels, shout out to him, the pride of Camp McKinley, man. They're 0-3 right now, bro. And they got Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, 5 running backs.
Yeah, imagine that in that division where ground's not going to be easy to make up.
Through 3 weeks, they're the biggest bust in the league.
Goodness gracious,
it's
man.
way early.
It's a head scratcher.
But the Chargers are 1-2,
If you get them down, that's why I like the fact that the Browns have a style that's translatable. It may be boring, it may be garbage, it may be trash. But when you're dealing with these other leagues, when you're dealing with a passing league, I'm seeing a bunch of guys that they're not hitting receivers. Receivers is out. They look real bad as quarterbacks now.
Nuggets, I'll come right to you, but I want to, off of that thought, this is really interesting, and I haven't heard a lot of guys talk about it. Collinsworth touched on it a little bit Sunday night, and they touched on it a little bit in the Bucks and the Packers game. And this is where I'm going. Why all of a sudden are great quarterbacks looking average? If the game last night, boring. There were the quarterbacks didn't take over. They combined for just over. I know they do.
Yeah.
And then take it to Brady and Rodgers.
Horrible.
In that game on Sunday.
That game was awful.
The quarterback play, horrible. I know that there's some significant absences with Hill being gone in Kansas City, but I'm waiting for Patrick Mahomes to walk through that door.
Well, Lamar's looked great.
And Lamar's looked better than I think we thought he was going to.
He's been phenomenal.
He hasn't been MVP Lamar, but he's been better than he was last year.
A lot better.
But I'm just watching around the league, and Collinsworth touched on it, and he said, I don't know if it's something specifically that all these defenses are doing.
Right.
But all of a sudden, because you always say, why is it when I watch other teams, quarterbacks make it look easy? Nothing has been easy for the quarterbacks this year.
We've been saying for the last however many
Even
years.
Josh Allen.
It's now a passing league. It's now a passing league.
You think the defense has caught up?
I guess. I mean, eventually you have to adjust, and I'm assuming that in the same way that offense changed to become more of a passing league to adjust to the defenses, there's been like a slow, and I don't know how they would do that exactly.
So maybe you do it through the draft. You would start spending more of your draft capital on defense.
Josh Allen's thrown for 1,000 yards and has 9 touchdowns.
I'm saying against Miami. He didn't look like Josh Allen.
But he still
in his first 2 games.
400 yards.
In defeat.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of that stuff, they seem to, in Miami's good at this. They give up chunk yardages between the 20s, and then all of a sudden they clamp down, and it's very difficult to score on them once they get close.
How many points did he get? He threw for 400, but only had 17 points.
17 points.
I think it's a coincidence, guy. You know who's looked good? Philadelphia. They've looked really good so far.
They're the other 3-0.
Jalen Hurts is playing really
well.
They're
3-0, and Miami's 3-0.
Another one
and that's it. That tells you where the NFL is. 3 weeks in, 2 undefeated.
And was anyone calling that those two would be the 2 undefeated teams?
Absolutely not.
No, definitely not.
You know what I mean?
And you'd have maybe Buffalo, Kansas City, San Diego.
One point before we move on to the Cleveland championship discussion, because we got to get to that.
Yeah.
But you remember the report that came out that the Browns, while they were looking at Watson, also were looking at Russell Wilson, and Wilson said no. Wilson has been an abomination.
Has not looked good at all.
And no matter what you get from Watson,
it's early, but
it certainly will not be as bad as what we've seen through 3 weeks.
That's another game. That was the Sunday night game.
Terrible.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that was when Collinsworth said, I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, we're used to seeing Russell Wilson come out here and find whatever it is the defense gives you, because the defense has to pick their poison. They have to give you something.
Right.
And Russell always finds what that something is usually at halftime. And then in the second half, it's, he just exploits that.
Right.
And it was like they were moving the chess pieces the entire game, and he couldn't figure it out.
And he's got plenty of, unlike Seattle, where he didn't have a good offensive line and he had a questionable running game. He had good receivers there, but he's got a good line. He's got a great running game and great receivers.
Well, the reason I bring up the theme of the struggling quarterback.
Yeah.
How well positioned would the Browns be if that trend continues?
Right.
And to your point, I think you're right. It is it's an overcorrection. Mm-hmm. For a while, it was like pinball machines. Offenses were scoring 40s. Well, what happens is when Buffaloes of the world and even the Chiefs, to a certain extent, have gone through this. When they say, "Wow, our offense is great, but we're not winning the Super Bowl because our defense has been overlooked." Teams have put so much draft capital into offensive players that, and I don't know, I would like to see what the numbers are on this. Mm-hmm. Perhaps over the last 2 or 3 years, other teams have seen that and said, okay, if they're going to build their teams with these superpower offenses, we need to spend more of our draft capital on defense.
I think we got to see it more than 3 weeks.
They got 3. Nowadays, when you look at the spread offense and you look at how high schools go, now more and more than ever, people grow up with the pass, right? Before, when somebody ran the spread back in the day, you was like, oh, my God, there's more receivers
You're
here.
right.
And now you got kids that grow up, and now the corners are getting better. So now teams are starting 3 corners. And like Newsome plays in the slot.
Right.
He's a first-round draft pick.
And he has to.
And
you're
now
right.
the offenses may have to adjust, but I think at this point, still too small sample size.
It is a small sample size, but you made a great point. I've talked to college coordinators that said it's so easy for us to implement this spread offense because they're running that in high school. That's what high school kids want to run. And then for years, we've heard NFL coordinators talk about this crop of quarterbacks they're giving us. They can't get under center. Mm-hmm. They can't. They're always in the gun. They're used to twins on both sides and just flinging it everywhere. And that's not a pro style offense. But I think you're right. I think now we've had enough sample of high school quarterbacks that were very good at that in college. And now the NFL quarterbacks or coordinators have realized we got to play to their strengths. And their strengths are running what they've run their whole life instead of asking them to try to fit a round peg into a square hole and run a style offense when that's not who they are.
Kyler Murray got 100. How many millions? He would have never been a quarterback in that long ago. 10 years ago, it wouldn't be viable.
Well, too small.
All right.
Yeah, here's the fun topic. Which Cleveland sports team will be first to win a championship?
Is that the exact question?
Oh, that's the way I read it. Which of the Cleveland?
That was the question.
Will be
which
the
of
first.
the Cleveland is most likely
to
win the first? Does anybody have a definitive answer?
Sure.
Number one,
of course.
Because I really struggled with this.
I have
Do
one.
you?
What's your answer?
Go ahead.
It's the Guardians. They're about to go to the playoffs. I mean, they're on the press. They're going in right now.
Fair enough.
Sure.
So if you said this last year or something like.
But let's say if they were all starting the season today.
Okay, let's talk.
That's how I'm
it's a
thinking
very
that
different
way.
question.
Okay.
And
It is a different question.
But you're right. I mean, right now, we're about to. Who knows what could happen?
Yeah.
But if they were just starting today, then that's a different question.
Yeah.
And in that case, I would probably I guess I'd probably still have to go with them.
Yeah.
I mean, just because the Browns haven't proven anything yet to me, even though, and we don't know what Watson's going to be like, and that's everything as far as their chances of winning a Super Bowl. And the Cavs are super young, and we can't expect that. I mean, so were the Guardians, but they've shown me something in a way that the Cavs haven't. So it would still have to go for me: Guards, Browns, Cavs.
Now, G. Bush, Bull, were either of you guys definitive? Because I was definitive too. So if you're kind of if you struggled with it, I can give you mine.
Go ahead.
I'm with Mike.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Guardians, and yes, they're closest to it. That's going to be the next championship that's handed out. But the reason I'm going with the Guardians is because, as we've seen time and again, I think if you look at all three sports, the NBA's best team wins the championship most.
Right.
Do we all agree with that? I just feel like they're the team. I think next it's the NFL.
Yes.
And I think third in that group is baseball.
Right.
So if you look at the overall records, the Dodgers already have 20 wins more than the Guardians. Their run differential is ridiculous. It's like 322 or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what that literally says is you've got a travel team playing against in a rec league.
Yeah.
That's how bad this competitive state has become in baseball, and that's because the Dodgers just turned it into a spending contest, and they're spending $6 for every dollar the Guardians spend. Think about that. And they're playing on the same field.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
The Dolans, every dollar the Dolans spend. Let's make it clear.
Now, what's really tricky about this is, on one hand, I want to make the case for a more even playing field financially. You know, the Coastal team.
I wish you'd stop right there.
Should not. But
I agree.
But you know what? The Guardians just blow that model away. And here's why. No team has spent less in the last decade. And in the American League, no team has won more.
We have a fundamental.
Haven't the Rays spent less? I think the Rays have spent less.
I'd like to see that for sure.
Yeah.
2 years ago,
but they're terrible.
No, but they're bad.
Yeah, I get it.
2 years ago, it was the Indians, but I think because the Rays are spending more than the Guardians now, I'd like to see if that's still the case. Because 2 years ago, that stat that I gave was correct.
Go ahead.
So because of that, it kind of blows up then you don't need a salary cap. Because the Guardians defy that.
I have a fundamental problem with that argument, and I hear it a lot. And the argument is, whenever somebody complains, whenever a Dolan apologist, or whenever somebody complains about the Dolans, a Dolan apologist comes out of nowhere and says, "But they're competitive. They're competitive every year. Look at what they've done. It doesn't matter. Money is not that important."
Factual.
It's completely true. Completely true. But that argument to me, fails because it supposes that if they had more money to work with, our management, somehow they'd fail at what they're doing. Their scouting would somehow we have too much money. We don't even know what to do anymore. Now we're idiots.
That's right.
What if you gave this very proven front office more money to work with? I just don't think they'd get worse. I think they get better. So until I see them,
is 100% right, Jay.
Of course
it's not proven. Well, you said it's proven no, it's not proven. You see,
what was the statement that I said was proven?
Go ahead.
You said that
money doesn't matter. It does matter.
No,
it does matter.
I'm not going to say it doesn't matter.
It's just like the people that got, like when I was saying, hey, because obviously I've been going nuts about the Guardians here. And I had a couple people say, "Oh, you said they should have spent some money in the offseason."
They should have.
As if I was wrong for saying that.
Yeah,
of course they should have. And they'd probably be even better.
Most likely, October's going to prove that they were just one or two pieces short.
Yep.
Most likely. Yep. I hope I'm wrong. Last year, Atlanta went out before the trade deadline with their best player out. Acuna was done.
Yeah.
And they completely remade their outfield.
Yeah.
Completely. With brilliant trades. And the next thing you know, they're a sub-500 team on August 10th.
Right.
They win the World Series.
So what if this brilliant front office actually had more money to work with so that they could take advantage of their brilliance?
Well, do you want an example?
That's what I wish they would do.
Do you want an example?
Sure.
How about the LA Dodgers? It's easy to say they spend a ton of money and that's why they win. That's certainly a big factor. But there are a lot of other teams that spend a lot of money, maybe not quite the Dodgers money, but they don't win as much.
Absolutely.
The Dodgers front office is also one of the best in baseball.
No question.
Now, it doesn't get the hype that the Guardians and the Rays get because
they're outspending everybody.
Because they're outspending. But they also have the best farm system.
Let me ask you this. How could any team in baseball, other than the Dodgers, absorb losing a Cy Young caliber pitcher and they don't even miss him?
Crazy.
They don't even miss him. Now,
but part of that is
take
because
Bieber off the Guardians.
Right. The Guardians can't do that. But part of the reason the Dodgers can do it,
because they've spent.
and other big market teams couldn't even, is because they've spent, yes, but they've also drafted and developed great too.
Wisely.
Look at all these
Here's
young
what
pitchers they have.
They remade their front office.
Yeah.
So their front office is now they don't have a weakness. When you look at the Dodgers organization, they have no weakness. Even the Yankees, for years when they were outspending everybody, they still had their weakness was developmental. They didn't develop talent. They used
bought ours.
the other 29 teams as their minor league system.
Yes.
That's what they did.
They've only won
when is this player free agent? We're going to get
I know
him.
it sounds silly to say the Indians and Guardians fans, but with as much money as the Yankees have spent, they've won one World Series since 2000.
But how many times have they missed the playoffs? I mean, you pay for competitiveness.
You pay for competitiveness. Yes,
You know
no
what?
doubt.
That's a good question. I'd like to know how many times the Guardians and the Yankees have made the playoffs since 2000.
The Mets have consistently had a high payroll and often not made the playoffs.
Right. Now,
the Cubs have consistently
The
had
Mets are doing it differently now, though. The Mets are doing it differently now. They used to just waste blindly, just write that
but
check,
their
write that
payroll's
check.
still very high.
But the moves that they've made, quite frankly, they've used the Guardians as two of their key acquisitions are former Indians.
We're their farm league.
Yeah, I mean, you got Carrasco, who's got 16 wins.
Yeah, and Lindor,
who's finally Frankie Lindor again.
Yeah.
Now, we also benefited greatly from that trade.
Sure.
Jimenez is a Gold Glove second baseman who's been probably second or third in our team MVP voting. We're nowhere close to where we are right now without Jimenez.
It's very rare.
And you can look at the shortstop too. Rosario is the same thing.
Well, I think they should try to extend this offseason, but which I doubt they will. But it's rare that a trade of that magnitude ends up being great for both teams. And it
You're
has.
right.
But to the point of picking the team, I actually, what's funny is before this season, I don't think any of us would have picked the Guardians.
I wouldn't have.
No.
Right?
No.
0%. It seemed like we knew they were heading in the right direction, but it seemed like they were further away.
This felt like a rebuild to me.
And even though baseball, unlike the other sports, you don't have to be the best team to win, it's also, if the Cavs can get to the point where they're the best team, and the Browns can get to the point where they're the best team, then you're more confident that they can win as opposed to the Guardians if they're the best team. Because the truth is that the best run by the Guardians, of course, was 2016, and they had no business going to the World Series that year with all the injuries they had. None.
Right.
Tom Hamilton said it yesterday. I've been saying it for a while. When Tom said it, I felt totally vindicated because I've been saying it. Meanwhile, in 2017, they were the best team. And they lost after winning those first two to the Yankees, winning that great second game where they won in extra innings, and then they got swept. They haven't won a playoff game since. So the best, you could be the best team and it doesn't matter. But I would agree with you guys. In the end, I would go with the Guardians.
You know what? As y'all was sitting there and talking about baseball, I had an opportunity to go through my mind and figure out what I was going to say. So that worked out well for me like that. Now,
wise use of the time.
Yes. I'm going to go surprising here. I'm going to go with the Cavs. Because from what I know about the NBA is, if you got the best few players, you got an opportunity to win 9 times out of 10. And I think the Cavs are uniquely positioned at a point where their players are very young and the league is getting older and older. KD mentioned something at his press conference, or the next press conference, and he said, why did you come back? You thought you weren't coming back. And he said, well, I'm getting older. I felt like they was going to bring back our Kyrie and some other pieces. So I felt like this is the best place to just stay. And you look around the league, Anthony Davis injuries, you look at LeBron is getting older. These guys, that level of star is getting to a point where now you got the young guys like Mobley. And you're like, if Mobley takes a step, and you already had Darius Garland take that step, and now you got Donovan Mitchell, and you have these pieces and parts. I'm looking at it like from a point where I can foresee them this year going far. If the Atlanta Hawks make the Eastern Conference Finals, this team is 10 times better than that team. Now, obviously, it's kind of difficult because you have a lot of different things going on in the Eastern Conference. The teams are better, and we talked about how stacked they are. But the acquisition of Donovan Mitchell put the Cavs on a different level where now they have legitimately 2 stars, and you got a young piece that's coming up that could be better than both of them. So for me, I go with the Cavs by a slim margin over the Browns because I know in the NFL if you got the quarterback, you got a chance. You got a shot. But we don't know what it's going to be like.
Let me ask you a question because you touch on something that's really interesting. You talk about the league and its superstars are aging. I don't know the answer to this. I'll just open it up to you guys. I can't imagine there is a team in the NBA with if they were to have an all-star game tomorrow and you had to be under 26 to play in it.
Yeah.
Man.
I think it's the Cavs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yep.
I think we're all excited about the Cavs.
So keep this group together.
Yes.
Add some veteran leadership. Right now, I think comes from Kevin Love. You know, he's that guy this
Ricky
year.
Rubio.
Right.
Yep.
You've got those guys, but I think you're onto something because if they can keep that core talent group together, I don't see why they can't age and improve and be that team that can be favored to win a title.
Yeah.
Here's my only thing about the Cavs. There's two reasons why I had the Cavs third. And
So you got the Browns over the
I
Guardians
got the
or
Browns.
over the Cavs.
I got Guardians, Browns, Cavs.
Wow.
Same.
Here's the only reason I got the Cavs third is because they're the least proven of the three. Now, we can say the Browns are unproven. Certainly they're unproven with Deshaun Watson. But at least this coach has won a playoff game. They've won a playoff game with this coach.
Yeah.
We know about the Guardians, obviously. The Cavs haven't won anything. And their best player, or their best player at the moment, we'll see eventually if Mobley's their best player, but their best player at the moment is new to the team.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Browns. But
How's he going to fit in?
Right. And here's the only thing I'm concerned about when it comes to winning a championship that we don't know yet. As good as all these guys are, and I love them, and they have 6 top 100 players, and what if Jared Allen's like 52? If he's up 2 spots, you have 4 top 50 players. However, they don't have any top 10 players. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could
Who's
be
the
an
last
issue.
team to win NBA title at a top 10 player?
I couldn't name it.
That's a very good point.
Couldn't name
That's
it
a
'cause
very good point.
Golden State, Miami, Milwaukee.
The Cavs.
The last
the
team
Cavs.
was the Pistons back in like 2004 with Chauncey Billups and Rip
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Right, because when the Raptors won,
be.
they had Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
Spurs, they had Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Right? Like who? The Lakers before that, it was Shaq and Kobe.
It's
wanna
a league
argue
that's
that the
dominated by
Celtics-
superstars.
It
The
is.
Celtics with KG, Pierce, and Allen, none of those three may have been top 10.
Yeah,
I don't know, but if they weren't, they were top 15 or top
They
20.
combine into one.
And there were 3 of them.
They combine into one great player.
Maybe
really.
none of those individually were top 10 at that point, but they probably all 3 were top. Certainly Pierce and Garnett.
Garnett,
were both
yeah.
top
They were Hall of
25.
Famers.
The last
they're
team
Hall
with
of Famers.
legit superstars, the 04 Pistons, though.
Yeah.
Chauncey Billups was an all-star.
And that was,
Hamilton
you know
was an
what?
all-star.
You can argue that that's a different era. I mean, that was
Right.
almost 20 years
so
ago.
we
Yeah.
don't know if you can win without a top 10 player.
No.
Now, the Cavs have 3 clear top 30 players.
I
right?
would
Not
agree with
40
that.
players.
Yeah,
at the
I would
worst.
agree with that.
And
Which
those
of the
guys are
3
all at.
do you think could emerge as a top 10 player?
I think Mobley's the best shot, right? I think because as a rookie, he was already, I thought, without being an expert at it, honestly, I thought he was already elite defensively, wasn't he?
I would give you that.
If he wasn't
absolutely.
elite, he was borderline elite. As a rookie at, 19?
Yeah.
So his
If he
offensive
turns into Tim
game,
Duncan like people think he can,
right, his offensive game's going to develop.
it will.
He's already great defensively. He's good on the glass. He has the toughness, I think. He'll bulk up a little bit, get a little bigger as he matures.
Right.
And if he can get to the point where he's scoring, 22, 23, more of a dominant presence on the offensive end, I think he could eventually be a top 10 player. And if he is, then the Cavs have a great chance to win a championship.
I know we're going to get internet reaction in a second.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys discussed this yesterday because I was out. Did you guys talk about LeBron's tweet over the weekend at all yesterday?
No.
And what do we make of that?
What was it?
So he tweeted, he asked a question.
I'll look for it. Which one are you talking about?
He tweeted Saturday. I can't believe you guys didn't see it. It
Didn't
was
see it.
huge. He said, yo, just asking, do I have eligibility
yeah.
left as in another sport?
Oh, I did see that.
And so a buddy of mine, I wasn't sure. I thought, what's he talking
Because
about?
of the J.R. Smith thing?
Yeah. Well, a buddy of mine instantly texted me and said, if I know the rules, he does. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that he wants to go play tight end at Ohio State while his son is on the basketball team there.
Oh, my God.
So funny.
That's crazy.
Did you ever see the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Can he get that off?
Here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. And now, my son is a Division I track and
Right.
field coach. He knows the recruiting rules inside
what'd
and
he
out.
say?
When I asked him about it, he goes, as far as I know, he does have eligibility left. That clock, there's no age cap.
Right.
And that clock doesn't start ticking
Yeah.
until you
Step foot on campus.
play on campus.
Right.
Now, he couldn't clearly as a basketball player.
Sure.
But just start thinking about that for a second. He's got more money than he'll ever need.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got championships. Jordan took a break to go play baseball.
Yeah.
Now, this effectively, if he did it, and this is wild speculation, but if he did it, it effectively would end his NBA career. At least
it would be awesome, though.
But could you imagine seeing LeBron James? He had over 1,000 receiving yards. At Akron St. Vincent St. Mary, I believe his junior year.
Before he stopped playing.
Don't you think?
A half a century ago.
It was, but he's still an athlete.
He's LeBron.
Don't you think that LeBron could have been great at any sport?
I do.
Almost any sport.
I do.
Right?
His athleticism.
Maybe not as a jockey.
Baseball is kind of hard.
He might not have been good at
or a golfer.
Yeah.
Or a golfer.
I think LeBron is the greatest athlete we've ever seen, in my opinion. Now, it depends, I guess, how you define the word athlete.
That's a big discussion. That's a big discussion.
I think if you want to say, of all the team sport players ever, I think he's the greatest athlete ever.
I think
it's hard to compare him against track guys.
It is hard. It is.
This feels a little bit like LeBron. That tweet feels a little bit like
just messing
I feel like nobody's been talking about
look at me. I'm over here. I thought the same thing. And I don't know if he's serious, but LeBron is just nutty enough to where maybe if
But why would he have to go to college anyway? There'd be NFL teams that would sign him.
Don't you think? Yeah, there probably would. But he's asking specifically about college.
Wants to hang out with his kid.
Because I think
like
he
Rodney
wants to go to college with
literally
with
like
his
Rodney
son.
Dangerfield.
I think
he could buy a whole dorm. He could buy a whole dorm and build a complex.
He literally.
It would be called the James Dorm, and Bronny and LeBron would live there.
That's good. I was
And
saying
then
how
have a
Ohio State
helipad.
needed more money for the athletic programs. That would help.
Just food for thought, something to think about. He hasn't really said anything or tweeted about it since.
That's funny.
But that's wild.
We got Aditi, so before we do Aditi, we got to get to what the internet says about that exact question. Whenever we tell you what the internet says, it's brought to us by PCC Airfoils. Are you looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18.
Shout out Minerva!
Plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
All right, keep it moving. Keep it moving. Let's go.
We easily give Minerva the most shout-outs that Minerva has ever gotten.
Ever.
Ever.
Do you know anybody from Minerva?
No, I don't even know where that is.
Never met
But I'm happy that they...
You grew up here and you don't know where it is.
No, I have no
doesn't
idea.
exist.
I've always heard of it. I thought it was like a rumor.
So I don't have to feel bad that I don't know where
No.
It exists.
I know.
PCC, they know.
So real quick, we asked the internet the same question we just discussed. Let's take tag word full here. Which Cleveland team is the closest to winning a championship and why? And we got a bunch of answers, so we'll run through them real quick.
You got 3 answers.
The internet had opinions?
They did, and the why was important here. The first one is from Sir Yacht. He says the Guardians, anyone can make a run in the playoffs. Cavs and Browns will probably need more time to gel with their new acquisitions.
Yeah, that's fair. Good logic.
Great point, Yacht.
Good logic, Sir Yacht.
Supreme Mugwump says the Browns because after 8 more games, Deshaun Watson is their quarterback.
Yeah, but
as
what
G.
if they're
Bush said.
4-7?
Well, that's
Are you
what Sir
questioning the
Mugwump
intelligence
says.
of Supreme Mugwump?
Well, based on that avatar, yes.
Next, this is from Good Beast. The Cavs, people think we're good. I don't think they realize just how good. Very few flaws on this team. The advantages, positives, more than make up for those flaws. And last but not least, this is from Mike. A full scouting report here.
Good,
Says
I like
Guardians
that.
without question. First series at home, hitters that don't strike out, A+ defense, A+ base running, 2 stud starters, a lockdown bullpen, and the best manager in baseball. That's a recipe for postseason success. They have what it takes to go all the way.
Mike wins that competition if it was one.
Dang,
because
bro.
I agree. He made all the right points. The lockdown bullpen, I'd say 3 quality starters,
Right.
but certainly 2. The best manager in baseball, and they play playoff-style baseball. They run. They go first to third.
Yeah.
They do everything that you want a team to be able to do in the playoffs.
The only 2 things headed into the playoffs that would be like if you were looking at making a column of positives and negatives about the Guardians, the only 2 negatives I could point to, and there's a whole lot of positives, so I won't repeat them all. The only negatives are not a lot of power
Yeah.
and 4th starter. And that's not going to
Yeah.
matter in the first round.
No, it won't matter in the first round. It will perhaps
Yes.
if you go into a
Well,
7-game
it will
series.
either way because
Well,
if you don't use one,
teams-
then you go 3 days rest, and that's a negative.
Yeah, that is a negative
Yeah.
for sure. Couple of things on the Guardians.
Yeah.
First
We
of
got-
all,
we got
this is my
Aditi.
biggest fear.
We'll-
Okay, I'll
we'll
bring it
wrap
right
that
in.
up. We'll get to it.
My biggest fear with the Guardians, the reason why they won't win it if they don't, in my view, it is very difficult for a team to stay absolutely on the edge of playing their best baseball for more than a month.
It is hard.
They are 20-3, something
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
They have played their best baseball at the biggest part of the season and they've done it for a month now. To ask them to be able to do that through October is very, very difficult. Very few teams can do it. The Yankees did it in April and May, and they fell completely off the cliff.
They just got hot again now.
They are playing, but that's what you want.
But now the Guardians are playing 9 meaningless games, too.
I know they are, so it'd be hard for them to judge them over the next 9 games.
Right.
But that's my fear. They're going to have to stay on the edge of greatness for 2 months. It's tough.
Yep.
Also, one last thing before we bring Aditi in. I loved when Bally's went to the locker room celebration on Saturday after the Guardians had clinched the division.
And Tito cursed.
As soon as they
Perfectly
Tito, the first word he drops is an F-bomb.
It was like he looked back at the camera and said, "We rolling?
Yeah, we're on. Okay.
Now?"
I'm sure there were so many people clutching their pearls about God forbid anybody shares the F word.
I hope that's not the first time anybody's
I would have run through a wall for him.
Yeah, and you know what his guys do, and they
Aditi
all
is
will.
offended by cursing, though, so let's
We all know
Yeah,
that.
we will not drop F-bombs in Aditi's presence. There she is, looking great as ever. Hi, Aditi, how are you?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that about the cursing because my husband did institute a curse jar, I don't know, a few years ago. And as my son has made a point of noting, the person who should be contributing the most is me. And yet I have never put even a dime in that curse jar.
What discipline. That is absolutely awesome. Now, were you a swearer, like a sailor before, and so you altered your behavior, or it really wasn't an issue for you?
No, I need to alter my behavior more, actually, quite frankly. And I think that...
Wait a second.
But
she's saying she curses. She just
doesn't put the money in the jar.
Yeah.
When she curses.
So you swear and you're dishonest.
Why would you need... Wait a second.
I'm not dishonest. I just don't like the exercise of this. I don't think that's...
I agree with you. It's a ridiculous exercise. People should be free to curse as you want. I curse in front of my son. And I say to him,
you know what? Yeah, but here's the thing. It's not as if they don't hear this in other places.
Right.
My issue is I should have more colorful words to use than to resort to that. It feels like it's a crutch. But sometimes the emotion is so strong that there's nothing else that fits it.
It's kind
of like sometimes there are certain words I want to say, and I can't say them in English. I can only say them in another language because it doesn't really exist.
Curse in another language. There you go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Technically.
Really funny story. Really random aside. Adam. So my parents are immigrants from India, and I was, of course, born in this country, as was my little brother. But initially, my parents spoke to me in both English and their native tongue, Gujarati, because they thought that if a child learned a language, because they wanted to carry on their tradition and their culture, and because all science says that if you teach a child another language before the age of 2, they'll always be better at other languages.
Right.
So 3 years after me, my brother comes along, and at this point, there's just not the same patience, and everybody's talking English. And to this day, I'm better at other languages than my brother is. But the joke in our family was when people would say, "Can your children speak Gujarati?" It was that Aditi can, but Anand only knows the curse words.
See?
That's what would come out of my parents' mouth when they were angry.
The people's language. It's the people's language.
That makes sense. Cursing is good. Smarter people curse, more creative people curse.
I hate
people who don't curse are generally losers. Let's be honest.
Wow.
Great.
That's true. I've done studies to back that up.
I'm always envious of people with great parents like your parents, though, who actually taught you a language or tried to teach you a language at least. Can you imagine? I just love the idea of my dad going like, "I'm going to teach you 2 languages as a child." The patience that takes.
Well, I learned Hebrew as a kid.
Chance. Yeah, well, you
I got it down.
Yeah,
even now?
No, I can't do a single word.
Well, then you don't have it down. What's funny, Aditi, is I think that you're right. I wish I had been taught a second language as a child, but I did work at an Italian restaurant through high school as a busboy. I can curse fluently in Italian. And when I went to Italy, I thought I would test it out and just started saying phrases just randomly in the square, and people were looking at me like, who the hell's this guy dropping these Italian curse words?
What do you say about my mom?
I know them all, and they're in my mind, and I can never not know them.
And you want to use them when you're in Italy, especially.
Well, yeah, you do want to use them when you're in Italy.
So I once had, when, why am I not thinking it? It's Hideki Matsui, right? Hideki Matsui was with the Yankees. I had gone to Japan for 2 weeks, and in Japan, you just inevitably pick up some Japanese phrases. And I'd come back and was in the Yankees clubhouse, and Hideki Matsui always used a translator. He spoke English, but I think he just never wanted to be misinterpreted. I think he never wanted to be unclear in what he was saying. So he had the translator. And I said something in Japanese to him. And he was like, oh, you speak Japanese? And then he was correcting my Japanese. I think we get so excited when we believe we know what we're saying.
Oh, yeah.
But
we don't know
I mean, I hope
squat.
I got points for effort at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this Myles Garrett situation, we don't know what we don't know, so we'll start there. What we do know was that he was involved in a car accident. The Porsche he was driving rolled multiple times. He was taken to a hospital, released, and no broken bones. Are you hearing anything more? Is there any blanks that you can fill in for us there? Obviously, Browns Nation is hopeful that he will be able to play, if not Sunday, at some point in the rest of the season. But I found it interesting that in a day and age where words in statements are parsed so carefully, that the words that were released from the agent were no broken bones. That leaves a lot of uncertainty and a lot of unknown. Can you tell us anything at all about what's going on?
I cannot speak to whether he will play on Sunday or not. I haven't been told anything beyond that, just that, it's non-life-threatening injuries, that he was indeed released from the hospital, that his passenger is also okay. I think the one thing as we wait for information is to just wait for that official information. How many people, guys, yesterday were just all of a sudden throwing out there, oh, Myles Garrett was driving irresponsibly. Oh, yeah, Myles Garrett drives at 100 miles per hour. Oh, Myles Garrett does this. You look at these photos, it's so jarring. And Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network reported that, no, actually, it was that Myles Garrett was swerving to avoid an animal, and the roads were slick and wet, and this is what happened. I mean, I'll tell you, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I'm constantly swerving to avoid deer. And
here too. That's
a really, really legitimate, scary thing.
Sure.
So I just think that it's so easy for all of us to kind of jump to these conclusions. And before we do, does it really kill us to maybe wait for just a moment and
that's really stupid
hear
and
what the team tells us? Hear what the official statement is?
Yep, you're right. Just wait, because
I gotta tell you though, that car, he wasn't going 10 based on how that car looks. I mean, I don't know anything, but he wasn't idling down the road to get rocked like that.
No, Mike. I think that it's fair to look at that and say maybe there was a little bit of both. Maybe there was a little bit of speed and maybe there was a little bit of swerving, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he was driving 100 miles per hour totally irresponsibly.
Right.
And that's what people were just immediately jumping to is, oh, the guy was in this car accident, this awful looking car accident, so let's impugn his character immediately.
Yeah, because at that point,
the first part, like, is he okay? Is his girl?
Right.
Is his
that's the first
That's
thing.
the important thing.
But to that point, he could have easily been traveling at the speed limit. And that car still could look like that.
Or even a little over, which we all do.
Yeah.
Well, most of us do at times.
It's a Porsche. It's got rear-wheel drive. It's slick.
Yeah.
It's Medina.
Not a great Cleveland car.
No, not perfect for those kind of conditions. And he was possibly, in the way that I would be if I were, how old is he, 23? If I were a kid and I had a girl in my Porsche, I might be trying to show off a little bit, maybe?
Yeah,
that's why you have a Porsche. And that's why you're in Medina. There's almost nothing, what are you going to hurt corn? The problem is, if it was an animal, and I don't know, but maybe he's just too nice. Ray Lewis would have gone right through that rabbit. Can we agree on that? But Myles Garrett is like, a bunny. Oh no, I could totally see that. And
he's too sensitive.
He's too nice.
He's a kind heart, that's for sure.
Aditi, let's talk about from an on the field perspective. Obviously, it seems like there's no serious situation. It's not that serious from a human standpoint because he's obviously out of the hospital already. From a football standpoint, you could very well be without him, still Clowney. One of their starting defensive tackles, even though he's not really good, Taven Bryan, is on the injury report. JOK's banged up, and Anthony Walker's out. So you could potentially be in this game against the Falcons offense that's been pretty good so far without 5 of your 6 guys up front. That's a disaster from a football standpoint.
It could be. It certainly looks like a major obstacle and a challenge, especially since the secondary is still sort of trying to find its way. I think that the Anthony Walker loss is significant for a million reasons. And the biggest one is probably the leadership and the energy and the juice that he provides. And this is one of those things that we talk about with Myles Garrett, that as tremendous of a player as he is, being that leader is not necessarily natural for him. As he told me, he's made a very conscious effort to be more present and be more vocal and play things like two square and be around. That's not necessarily something that just comes to him in the way that it did Anthony Walker. Right. I think that it's still early in the week, so none of this necessarily has to be desperately alarming just yet. I also think that, you know, this is the mark of good teams, is you figure out where is your depth and how do you adjust for what is missing and what do you do when those bodies are out. You can't just kind of throw your hands up and surrender, wave the white flag. There's got to be some other plan there. And on the flip side, I think the offense is really continuing to look better and continuing to gel. You're seeing what Amari Cooper and Jacoby Brissett are doing together. You're seeing the way this run game is moving. And I think that, I mean, obviously, we know that the great Dick LeBeau says you want to keep every team under to 17 points or less, and then you've got whatever, a 99% chance to win. But in some ways, this Browns team can put up points and they can control the clock. So that's a good sign, you would like to think.
And you'd certainly want to run ball control and keep the defense off the field for as long as. And we were talking earlier, Aditi, and you know this as well as anyone, the Browns' strength is I know it's a passing league, I understand that, but because of that, most defenses are built to stop the pass. And the Browns offense is clearly built to have these long 13-play, 80-yard, clock-consuming drives, and that travels. I think from that standpoint, if we're trying to find silver linings here, you know, we saw, I can't remember who it was, somebody won the time of possession battle 42 minutes to 8.
Was it Bills?
Buffalo?
It was the Bills and the Dolphins.
Okay, and they lost the game, so that's bad.
100-degree weather on top of that.
If you can consume 42 minutes of game clock where your defense is on the field resting, there's no reason you should ever lose a game like that. I know the Bills did, but I think that what the Browns are going to Atlanta thinking is that's the kind of drives we need. We need 4 or 5 of those that turn into points and just let the chips fall where they may. But if your defense isn't on the field, it can't be a weakness.
Correct. And I think that that's another one of the things that is sort of in the pro column for the Browns, is that early in the season, there are still teams struggling to find their identity, figure out who they are. Right. The Browns know exactly who they are. And as much as we may sit here and talk about Donovan Peoples-Jones or Amari Cooper or David Bell or David Njoku, the Browns are going to run the ball. Everything is going to start with that run game. Everything is going to start with Nick Chubb, who's going home, and Kareem Hunt. And yes, the Browns can control the clock. So, and the magic with them too is kind of like Robert Saleh was saying, you know they're going to run the ball, and it's still incredibly hard to stop them. So that all bodes well for the Browns. And again, I would just sit here and say right now it's still a little bit early in the week. A lot can happen before Sunday. So let's not think necessarily that 5 guys are out on defense.
Aditi, how long can Jacoby Brissett continue to play this good? Is there a shelf life on this type of performance the last 2 weeks we've seen? Is this something that he can replicate, or you know, is the glass slipper going to fall off and he's going to turn back into?
Gee, I'm having a hard time thinking of another player that is perceived so differently within football and from fans. So what I mean by that is everybody you talk to in football, whether it's Nick Sirianni, who coached him, or it's Robert Saleh, who's about to face him, or it's Kevin Stefanski discussing the decision-making and his strength and all of the other things that Jacoby Brissett brings, he is really a much, much, much better player than so much of the outside fan base gives him credit for. You know, it's like even when we looked at the Browns at the start of the season, you look at this roster and how loaded this roster is, and that there weren't really any glaring holes other than, let's argue, at potentially defensive tackle. And yet people were just poo-pooing the Browns, and the only reason was because of Jacoby Brissett. But you look at Jacoby Brissett, and this is one of the most heady, smart quarterbacks in the game. This is a guy that Kevin Stefanski told us week 1 had exactly 1 minus decision. So now every ball he threw didn't necessarily get where it needed to go. Every single play, every single snap, the team necessarily wasn't entirely on the same page. But Kevin Stefanski said that the quarterback made exactly 1 decision that perhaps should have been a different decision.
And that was against Carolina?
How many guys can say that? Like, seriously, how often can you say that? So I think that Jacoby Brissett is a guy that is kind of perfect for a team right now that knows it's going to start everything with the run. I don't know that he's going to put you on your back and win you games the way that the Browns are hoping Deshaun Watson can one day, but they're also not asking him to do that. They don't want him to lose them games. And this isn't a guy that's going to lose them games. So, I don't see why it's crazy to think that the Browns can keep playing well, can stay in the race through until Deshaun Watson returns. And I think one more thing, sorry guys, I know like it's terrible when someone keeps talking, but let me just give you this one other thing. I think that Jacoby Brissett is also just in this incredible place. I'm thinking about when we talked to him after week 1 and before week 2 about how emotional he was week 1 in getting that win, in, that comeback, gutting it out, all of that. And I actually said to him, I said, do you keep in your mind sort of a clock that everything is finite? Okay, now I'm 1 week down. Now I'm 2 weeks down. Now I only have this many weeks of this left. And he was like, you know what? At this point in my career, I really don't. He said that there was a period of time where he didn't even know if he was going to get to play again. And now here he is starting games in the National Football League. And he said, all I'm thinking about is that I've got a game Sunday, that I get to start Sunday. And he said, I'm at peace with that and I'm content with that. Wow. And speaking from personal experience, I think when you're not thinking about the next contract or the next year or the next assignment, and you're just thinking about what's in front of you, it just brings a different, help me out. Somebody help me out what the word is.
It brings peace.
Yes, it's a different peace. It's a different attitude. It's a different emotion. And I think that enables you to kind of play a little looser, a little freer. And it's always good to play that way.
I agree.
But kudos to him to have that perspective. And it's very similar to what Joe Flacco said to us before week 2 as well. He's 37 years old. He doesn't know how many days he has left. So when he's out there, it's soaking up every moment. It's not being nervous with 2 minutes left and being down 2 scores.
All right, but let's get
Not
back
that that's a great memory for Browns fans, but again, there's value in that, is my point.
Aditi, I love you, but let's get back to reality. If everybody in the if everybody in the NFL loved Jacoby Brissett so much, somebody would have made him a starter at some point. Nobody's ever wanted him to be a starter. He is what he is. He's a backup who, when he plays too much, gets exposed.
28 and 32. He's 28 and 32 overall. That's his record.
Right. I mean.
Okay, but you know what? Hey, Matt Castle was a backup for a year and didn't play so bad.
Right.
Again, you're not asking him to lead your team for 5 years. You're asking him to give you the 3 best months of his life. And oh, by the way, you're asking him in a very, very reasonable fashion. All you're saying is don't make dumb decisions. And guess what? That's the thing that he's best at.
I agree.
His number one asset, his number one trait is that he doesn't make dumb decisions. And that's all the Browns are asking him to do.
I agree, but he played poor. I don't care what Kevin Stefanski said, okay? He played poorly in that first game. We all watched that game. We've seen the PFF grades on him. He played badly. He missed a ton of throws in that first game. I don't know what the hell Kevin Stefanski.
No, he said decisions, but I question that too because Aditi, there were times he had receivers running wide open. That's the right decision on that play. Pull the trigger, throw to the open guy, and to hear Kevin Stefanski say he only made one negative
He's going to talk him up, though, obviously.
Well,
he's not going to be like,
I just don't know. Listen, I think Jacoby.
But guys, you know what? Yeah. This is here again. Like, this is where I'll sit and I'll tell you, you might see something on TV and it looks like guys running free, but a guy might not be where he's supposed to be.
Agreed.
The progression may not necessarily go that way. You know, this isn't backyard football. This isn't us just running around and saying, "Oh, I'm open, throw me the ball." It just doesn't necessarily work.
No, but when there is an open guy,
again, I'll say, like, you had this in Pittsburgh, where a week ago, the rookie George Pickens is saying, "Oh, I think every receiver is open on every play." And then Todd Haley comes on the radio and he's like, the receivers are really sloppy. And so, like, while they may look open, if they're not where they're supposed to be, Mitch Trubisky is throwing an interception.
But Kevin Stefanski's not going to say he missed 10 throws. I mean, he's never going to say that if that's true. I don't know.
But I mean, there were certain ones where he's like, where Jacoby openly said, I was thinking that he was going to be outside the numbers and he was inside, or I should have placed it here. But this is why you communicate. I mean, who do you expect to be absolutely perfect on all their P's and Q's week 1? Look at how well he played week 2.
You bring up a point.
Really well. Week 2, you want to see progress.
Agreed, but I just think we need to be realistic about who he is as an NFL player.
Okay, yeah, and so he played really. What was he? Week 2, 26 of 28.
Week 2, he was great. Week 3, he was great. For him,
okay, and then
great.
Week 3, just saw his Mikey McNuggets put up for us. He was
but we
great.
gotta,
Come on now.
they haven't played anybody yet. Once they start playing good teams, how's he going to do then? We'll see.
Aditi, we were talking earlier in the show about quarterback play so far, and there were during some broadcasts on Sunday and Monday last night as well. I thought Collinsworth made it sort of a thread for a moment on Sunday night. We heard I was listening to the Packers and the Bucs, and they were talking about it. And I don't know why. I'll ask you this question. It seems as if the quarterback play isn't as easy for these guys to put up gargantuan numbers as it's been in the past. Russell Wilson hasn't been the same. Clearly in Cincinnati, Burrow isn't the same. Patrick Mahomes is not the same. Brady, obviously, with the receivers, you expect him to struggle. Even Aaron Rodgers, he's lost his main guy. He's struggled. My point is that because the pendulum is swinging back to defense now because maybe more teams have spent some of that draft collateral on building these defenses to stop the pass? Or is it the fact that nobody's playing the preseason and the first 3 weeks has kind of become the preseason and we should expect for that quarterback play to start to tick back up?
Okay, so I think it's part of answer B. It's the same way that when they got rid of tackling in training camp, we all agreed that, okay, the first month of the season, there's horrible tackling. I think part of it is these guys haven't had time. We could individually go through all of them. Joe Burrow barely played with that appendix out.
Right.
But I think C, who is around these quarterbacks? This is a team game. You cannot do everything by yourself. I would give you the flip. The 2 quarterbacks that I'm going to see this week, Jalen Hurts, who's playing absolutely lights out and look at what the Eagles did. The Eagles built him the biggest offensive line in the NFL, and they also brought him A.J. Brown to go along with Devonta Smith.
Right.
So, okay, and look at how Jalen Hurts is playing. And then Trevor Lawrence, who is suddenly able to get rid of the ball so much faster than he was a year ago. He's got Christian Kirk in now. He's got guys playing well. Yeah. He has more support. So when you talk about Aaron Rodgers, well, he lost a lot of his best guys. You talk about Tom Brady, all these guys that you're mentioning, again, you can't do it by yourself. You need somebody to throw to. You need somebody to take the pressure off by running the ball. You need some help. And you're talking about guys that don't necessarily have playmakers on the other end.
Mahomes is actually putting up big numbers so far.
He just hasn't looked like Patrick Mahomes in the past. Yeah. And I know that he lost Hill. Yeah. But in Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's got his receivers, and it just doesn't look like the same Cincinnati offense.
But then look at how much better Tua looks. Hill goes to Miami, and all of a sudden, Tua's throwing for 4 touchdowns in a fourth quarter. Whoever saw that happening?
Well, he's got
and against
tandem
the Ravens
of receivers that are great.
And let's not forget, P.S., Lamar Jackson is throwing the ball really well and dropping back way more than we've ever seen him drop back.
Yeah, I know, a lot more.
Aditi, before you go, we don't know anything really about the Falcons, it turns out, including their offense, and we don't know what is happening with our defense, who's going to be playing and who's not. Can you just make us feel better by telling us how the Browns can beat the Falcons and why they will beat the Falcons, please, before you go?
I just think that the Browns have some good confidence. I think winning Thursday night was a really big deal on that massive, enormous stage against the Steelers of all people. And sometimes it's not even about who somebody is, it's what the uniform is. And I think when you're a rival and a team has owned you for so long, that counts for a big win. I think that they played together and we saw a team win. We love to talk about the Browns run game, but their passing game is working really well. And I think that Nick Chubb's going home. And I think Nick Chubb playing in front of his home fans and his home state is always a good thing.
That's true.
I love that point.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take it.
I feel better. Thank you, Aditi.
Aditi, thanks for picking us up. Our spirits are higher now.
Swear at us in Indian before you go. Never mind. I wanted to hear. Can you tell us a swear word? Bye. All right. Next time.
I don't think YouTube has any Indian censors that are going to figure out what that is and ban our show forever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, she did say something that I hadn't thought about, but Nick Chubb is going home, and that's
a topic for tomorrow.
That always gives players a little bit of an extra.
Does it give him that though? Is he?
I don't know.
A lot of people, I don't know. Maybe it will. It just doesn't seem like he's swayed by that. He's like just another game to run straight ahead and succeed.
Yeah, he seems like the robot kind of guy.
I don't think he's swayed by emotion very much.
Yeah. This means so much.
Yeah. That's certainly a good thing that he's not, because
it's time for a little good bet, bad bet, guys. And then we'll get into some 60 seconds. We did have an update after last night's Monday Night Football games. And we have a tie atop the leaderboard after a 1-2 performance from G. Bush and a 2-1 performance from Jason Lloyd. You guys are tied atop the standings at 26-18. Polk, who was our percentage leader last year,
dead last.
I'm getting hammered because you keep giving me L's whenever I don't respond, and I don't think that's fair. Or you at least should have told me that was going to be the system, and maybe I would have. I still probably wouldn't have responded, but at least it would have been my choice.
It's more like an incomplete grade, really, than a failing.
In your defense,
yeah.
I said I didn't want to do this way because I don't want everyone who's not on the show that day to answer, and I got bullied into making everyone have to answer.
All right, well, but then tell me that that's going to be the new system.
Okay,
no one told me that. Okay, thanks, guys. But now you've given me.
I thought we talked about it.
You've given yourselves a nice 9-game cushion without telling me this, and so 9 of my L's are just you just be like, he didn't answer. So this whole thing is whack. You should erase those. Now that I have this information, you should adjust my standings, get rid of the fake L's that I didn't know I was getting for no reason.
The fake L's.
And then we can start anew.
What we could do is, so put his number back up again. He was 16-25. If you take the 9 L's off, he's 16.
9's an arbitrary number.
Or 19-25. Okay, no, there's 3 days that you didn't.
I have no idea.
Oh, I thought you.
And some days are 5 bets, some days are 3 bets, some days are 1 bet.
So we have no idea. I was going to say if you take the 9 off.
I'm going to come back. Screw it. Everyone knows where I was at. You guys all know. Watch this heroic return.
You were at 67% almost every single week.
Yes, I was. That was until
2 of 3.
That was until you guys started handicapping me. I see what you guys do.
I ain't gonna say
you guys
much.
love winning.
I gotta just tread this water. I ain't gonna do too much.
Yesterday, the over/under was 39. Why was it 39?
The game?
Yeah.
That's what the line I saw.
I know, but it's got to be a half. You got to throw a half in because it was a push.
That's a good point.
I still don't understand gambling, so.
I mean, it was.
I just copied the line off the website we use. It's
well,
the
you should always round. You should always cut it to a half point if you want to go 39.5 or 38.5.
No, it's a valid point. Yeah,
I mean, because everybody pushed on that one yesterday, so he couldn't have gone 1 and 2.
Well, no, if you pushed, it was a win. I gave you a win for a push. So it was all
but he also accurately predicted the outcome of the game. He called the top bet was bad.
All 3 bets.
So he should be 1 and 1, and then if you gave everybody the push, he should be 2 and 1. Because
I'll go back and listen. Anthony's not here this morning, so I had to make these bet graphics you're about to see.
Sorry, buddy.
All right, let's get to it.
I don't care.
I think you got robbed, though. I would look into that.
Yeah, we're gonna look at it with the judges.
You said that the Giants with the point would not win.
Yes,
and they didn't. Cowboys won.
Yes, the Cowboys
and covered. So he should get that extra point. But you missed on the 400-plus passing yards.
Yes.
That barely went over.
I will go back and adjust.
Over?
It did go over. When you texted, I'm like, no, it's right on pace to go over.
Yeah, when he said it didn't look like
wasn't at the time.
No, it was. I looked.
Oh.
It went over by like 45 yards.
Okay.
Those last
couple
drives.
All
right, we're going to run through these real quick.
Go.
Jay, you're up first. There's no pictures. I don't know where the pictures exist in the system. Anthony hides those.
Anthony, we miss you. Okay.
He's now proved his worth.
We make fun of him when he's
Who
here.
knew Anthony was this important?
I make fun of him when he's gone, too, though, in fairness.
Yeah, do you want me to explain all of these?
Just pick one and go.
The Jordan Elliott thing, the tackle for loss, does he have one this year?
I
don't think he does, so that was easy. Although now if Garrett and Clowney are both out, somebody's got to put pressure on. I would hope that it's him, but I'm still taking the under. I took the under on Joker because I think he's hurt. So even if he does play, I'm not sure he's going to go over. He's going to get 7 tackles. The over on Patterson, that's wildly low. I don't know how we set it that low. Yeah. He's averaging over 100 yards a game and 6.2 yards per
Mike,
carry.
are you making these numbers up,
been
by
like
the way?
85 and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He had one. There was one game he didn't.
What we got next?
Wasn't over 100.
G. Bush, you're up next.
Yeah.
Let me see. I had some of the same thought processes. I don't think Joker's going to be even play, so I had under. Your boy Jordan Elliott don't make plays anyway. He ain't making no plays. That's under either.
It's fair.
Watch him have 5 sacks.
G, I didn't export your bets. It got lost in the translation, so thank you for remembering what you sent.
Oh, okay.
This segment's been a disaster.
Yeah, Anthony.
There's a lot to do without Anthony. I'm throwing tag for myself.
Anthony's getting a raise off of this segment.
Yeah, he is. You're right.
Who knew he was the glue?
We do have Pokes, though. Poke, you want to tell us yours?
I think they're exact same as Jay's. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so, and same reasoning.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
Same reasoning.
I can't even read the board.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
It's a
going on.
lot of fun.
It is.
Listen, Anthony has a method.
It's like
to
an
this.
eye test.
Yep.
And
What
Anthony
is
called me this
happening
morning
here?
and said, hey, I can't commit. I'm not feeling good.
Yeah.
And the first thing that goes to my mind was, I don't have the bet templates. I don't know how you make those. I don't know where the pictures of the people are. That is.
We'll still
part of what
survive.
he
We
does
got to
in the
work on
morning, so.
cross training here. I thought we were working on cross.
You know what it shows? It shows we're a really well-oiled machine when everybody's
That's
here.
right.
But this might be what the Browns look like on Sunday when you're putting this guy over here and this guy's sick and this guy's hurt. And
Just blitz. Just go.
All right, Mike, get my card up.
Olivier
there, will ya?
Vernon's on the line. Like, what's your name again? Good to meet you. How are you?
All right, let's see. Paul, who's the last one?
Okay. I got over on, I think, Pitts.
You put over on Pitts.
So Patterson and Pitts were switched for
Yeah.
Mike and I and you.
All right. Nobody isn't it pathetic that we don't think Jordan Elliott can get one tackle for a loss?
Well, I don't think he has one this year,
I mean,
unless I'm
even
mistaken.
if he doesn't even have to have a sack. He can
hit
tackle a running back for a 1-yard
Yes.
loss, and that counts. And we're not even betting on that.
No,
None of
we're
us.
not.
Maybe it'll be
That's sad.
inspiring to Jordan Elliott if he's watching. He'll be like, I'm going to show them.
I'm going to get one tackle for a loss.
I'm going to get a
That's the
half.
last
I'm
thing
going to
I
get a
do.
half a tackle for a loss.
He's gonna jump
Thinks
on
I'm
that
a
pile.
bleep.
He's gonna jump on. He's gonna find a pile to jump on.
To get that
And-
half.
he
What's his
will.
name, David
And,
Shelton?
here's the way you got to do it if you're a D lineman.
Yeah.
You got to jump on the pile, but you got to be the last one off the pile. And if you're the
make it
last
look like
one
you
off,
got there first.
Yeah.
Look
that
all
was me.
tired when you get up. He's like, I did it.
Yeah. And then you can help him up a little bit too.
Yeah.
Come on, I got
Sorry,
you.
man. It's all
By the way,
good fun.
didn't the Browns draft Eddie Shelton in the first round?
Yes, number 15. And that same draft they got Cam Irving, and they both were horrible.
Cam Irving, Danny Shelton, and that's not the worst they've done in the first round. The Justin Gilbert.
Listen, you could write a book on failed first-round picks.
I
from
mean,
the Browns.
dwell on
Kiki
that.
Mingo.
Oh, my
God,
God. But you know what?
another
Is he still in the league?
I don't think so.
He was last year.
He was.
He was still playing, and I'm like, how in the hell is this guy still
Yeah, I
in the
don't know.
league?
Maybe he is.
I think he was with the Patriots, wasn't he?
I don't
He was. I don't know if it was last year.
I don't know if this guy's
PTSD right
What
now.
year did Brian Hoyer come into the league?
I'll look that up. All I know is Anthony just texted us and said he's never felt more important than right now.
We
So
love you,
feel
Anthony.
better, Anthony.
We miss
If
you, and we
guys-
miss your misspellings too. Actually,
That's
If
true.
you guys
Everything
really
was
wanna
properly
know
spelled.
Anthony's importance, wait till Thursday if he's not back and we have to do the
Oh,
fence
man.
graphics ourselves.
Oh,
We
that'll
still
be a
have
nightmare.
We still have on one of our schedule graphics. It says the Bengals in one spot, and then the next spot says the Begnows.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed for 2
And
years.
what graphic are you talking about?
There's a graphic when you
The
put
Begnows.
when the schedule's on like the side panel of the screen.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I'm
little
talking about?
side panel that you add up
When you put the whole schedule or
over
most
an
of it.
interviewer.
We did that out of disrespect for the Begnells.
Well, if you did, that would be funny, but I don't think that was.
I
the case.
wanted it to be
Except act like that's why we're
Bengals,
doing it.
like they're cheerleaders.
See?
No, listen, you don't have to put up any typos.
See,
Steve.
number
Let's-
13, the
Yeah,
Begnows.
number 13, the
We don't,
Begnows.
we don't have to point out Anthony's misdoings here.
It's
but-
funny.
Yeah.
Come on, no, this kid's sick. Don't kick him while he's down.
I love him.
He did that when he was well. He made that graphic when he
We
was
just
well.
been hyping him up for 10 minutes. We got to keep him humble.
Brian Hoyer was a rookie in 2009.
I went to high
according
school with
Steve,
him, I
by the
think.
Dang,
way.
that's crazy.
2009.
That's
And he's going to
crazy.
come in here in a couple weeks and most likely start against his old team.
That's crazy.
The Brian Hoyer revenge game. We had the Baker
I think
revenge
the
game and
backup
Brian-
quarterback job in the NFL
Yeah.
is single-handedly the best. If you were to figure out how much
Yeah.
he's made per snap,
Yeah.
that dude's banking it.
No, I'll tell you who's made the most per snap is
Chase
Chase
Daniel.
Daniel.
Yeah, he's.
Yes.
Oh.
my God.
That guy
Oh.
has made crazy money. I think he's only started like 5 games in his career. And he's always one of the highest paid backups. I don't know why he's
I
never
think them
played.
Hasselbacks started it. Them Hasselbacks. I
Yeah,
forget
they
which
were
one
on
it
that
was.
train
Hasselbacks.
too. They were definitely on that
And the
train.
McCowns. All
By
the
the way,
McCowns.
Here's the kit right here. Here's the backup quarterback starter kit.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is.
That's
Clip
pretty
them.
much
That's
all you need if
By
you're
the-
Brian Hoyer.
By the way, isn't Case Keenum a backup for a team that the
He
Browns
is.
are playing?
Yes,
Yes.
he is. He is.
The Bills, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we could see him.
Josh Allen gets hurt.
That'd
All
be
right, so last thing with Anthony real quick.
Yeah.
We went to Cavs Media Day yesterday.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Anthony's value,
Skyrocketed.
A+. Him and Earl yesterday absolutely killed
Did he
it.
get
We
everyone
got-
sick on the
Hey,
team?
shout out to Earl and Mikey and Anthony who went down there. Also, big shout outs to Brad Sellers and to Jason
Yes.
Lloyd who helped the guys get interviews. And shout out to the Cavs who provide, all these
Show
players.
love.
We
They
love the
spoke to
Cavs.
Almost all the players.
And you know what? I'm
We appreciate
I'm going to use that as a jumping off point.
Yeah.
The Indians we haven't really asked much of. The Guardians.
Yeah.
I think we will coming up here in the playoffs. Hopefully, Curtis will help us get a little bit of
Throwing out
access.
the first pitch
Although
on
we're
Thursday.
having a
Coming to the
Guardian,
game Thursday
we're having a
night with
show
the
That's right.
day on
pitch.
Thursday.
I forgot
right.
it. We didn't even promote that.
But bro, the Guardians, the Browns, like not only are they not helpful, they've built a wall.
Yeah.
We get nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's
And the Cavs, we're gonna give love where there's love to give, and the Cavs have
Absolutely.
been
They were
open
great.
from day one. They hit us up after our first show, Jay. Love the show. Love to talk about how we can work with you to promote our product.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. It's about
Guardians
promotion. And some of these media arms of teams, they don't get that. I've never understood that.
We're having a
We're
having an Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show at the Guardians on Thursday. It's the 100th show, and Jay and G and I are going to be on the field, and Jay's throwing out the first pitch.
No pressure.
A lot of pressure. I said you wouldn't feel nervous.
None of it.
He's
Breaking
loving
pitch?
it.
You want to
I thought about
Like,
throwing
no,
a
no,
pitch.
that'd be crazy.
Listen, no, I've done it before, and every time the catcher was like, "What the."
throw that breaking pitch. They're like, oh, listen.
I'm just coming straight.
I got to reel us back in real quick because we got to get to this.
Yeah.
But thanks again to BJ for setting this up. Just coming up in the next couple days, we had a one-on-one with Donovan Mitchell. We got a one-on-one with Kobe Altman. Got a one-on-one with Austin Carr, Isaac Okoro, Karis LeVert. We talked to literally, I think, 15, 16, 17
Big round of applause to the Cavaliers, who want us to have access so the fans can. It's all about the fans.
That's right.
And these teams that limited access, you don't get this, you can't show that, you can't play that. You're wrong.
And Earl and Donovan Mitchell are apparently boys now.
They're boys.
Right?
Are they? It was what? Mitchell walks in. I swear to God, it's on Twitter, and he just walks in and Earl just daps him up, and he
like
daps
their
him
buddies.
up like the first person he walks in.
No way.
Go check. We tweeted out yesterday.
Earl's got that quality to him, though. He's a friendly guy.
By the end of the day, Mitchell stayed and talked to everybody, from the top big outlets to us in the middle to the blogs. He talked to every single person. And at the end, Earl's like, "Yo, Mitch, you got a second for us?" He's like, "I got you, boy," and walked over, and that's how he did it with
awesome.
us. We only got 2 minutes with them. It was the end of the day, but the interviews you're going to see, if Brad's doing them, they're serious basketball questions.
Sure.
If I'm doing them, it's let's get to know these players in a different
And what's
light.
your favorite salad dressing?
And we are starting today with maybe the biggest character, literally and physically,
he is.
on the Cavaliers. This is 60 Seconds with Robin.
But it's
Lopez.
actually 2 minutes.
It's
2.5
longer than
minutes.
60 seconds.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Let's listen. He's awesome.
Bonus content.
What? We got some video?
Graphics.
Another 90 seconds at Cavs Media Day, this time joined by new Cav Robin Lopez. Robin, you and mascots have had a tumultuous history. What's your least favorite mascot?
Yeah, he does.
I'd probably have to go with Hugo the Hornet.
Why Hugo?
I mean, just look at him. Just look at how he looks, the way he intrudes upon the game of basketball, the beautiful game.
Is there any mascot you like?
I like Moondog. I'm gonna squash that beef. I like Moondog. I like Sir CC.
Good answer. Who has the best hair on the team?
Best hair? I think we're gonna need to have like a monthly or weekly hair rankings or something. Hair like keep the movers and shifters. I think I'm up there right now. I think of course you got Jarrett. You got to give Jarrett credit. Ricky takes a lot of time with his hair. He came in, after a lot of. He came in later than everybody else to media day because he was taking care of his hair. And then K-Love, he's got the salt and pepper look. It looks fantastic.
Favorite cheat meal?
Favorite cheat meal? All my meals are cheat meals.
Favorite non-cheat meal?
Non-cheat meal.
I've never asked what's your favorite healthy meal, but what's your favorite healthy meal, Rob?
I guess beet salad.
Oof.
I get paid to talk, and I have no words for that one, Robin. What's your first impression of Cleveland?
That's terrible.
I'm enjoying it. We got a lot of great guys on the squad.
You've been around the league for a while. Who's the funniest teammate you've ever played with?
The funniest teammate, Kyle O'Quinn.
Not even close?
It's not very close now.
Have you met any funny guys on this team? I've asked everyone this question. No one's given me the same answer for who's the funniest Cav. No.
We got a few funny guys. Somebody that's always talking is Lamar. He's always talking and laughing. So I'm going to go with Lamar for now.
Best dancer on the team.
Best dancer on the team? I haven't been in any situations that I think I could determine the answer to that question. I'm going to throw out a wild card. I'm going to go out with Howell. He seemed to got that flair, that aura around him.
What's your hidden talent?
My hidden talent? I think I can do an okay Mickey Mouse impression.
Can we hear it?
Oh, shucks. Oh, what's up, Pluto? Oh, shucks.
We'll write that on Twitter. Not bad, though. Two more real quick. Dream vacation destination.
Dream vacation destination.
He's rich.
Petra,
There's no dream. I just go there.
Or
Pull up.
Or
I buy my
Morocco.
dreams.
Yeah.
And lastly, obviously, Brooks, your twin. What's the one thing that you dominate Brooke in every time? He has no chance in competing with you when it comes to blank.
I would say Clue. Yeah.
Robin Lopez, Cleveland Cavalier, Clue legend. Thanks.
Respect.
Good job, McNuggets.
How you gonna ask a rich man what his dream is? Them rich people that dream, them is reality.
They buy it.
I was there last week.
He ain't LeBron rich.
He's rich by any standards.
I mean, he can go to any place, parish, county in this world.
In spite of that, do you know where he spends a lot of time with his brother? Disney World. They love
I've seen
Disney
him tweeting
World.
a lot about
Brooke, his brother, proposed to his fiance just last year at Disney World,
Wait.
those two love going to Disney.
That's true. What do you think Robin Lopez's career earnings are?
Well,
I'm
before you
shocked
do
by
it,
this.
let me tell you where he's played. The Suns, the Hornets, the Blazers, the Knicks, the Bulls, the Bucks, the Wizards, the Magic, and the Cavs.
125 million.
14 seasons.
125.
I was gonna say it's higher than that, right? Oh, it's lower.
No.
Give me 90.
I'll say. No, I was going to guess lower.
I was gonna say about 130.
77 million.
95.2 million.
Yeah, he's rich.
Come on, 100
by
million.
any standard, he's rich.
That is any standard rich.
Yeah, there's no place
100
there's no
million.
place on this planet. Now he could have said moon. There's no place on this planet that he's wanted to go to that he has.
Disney's
He goes to the
expensive though.
moon, too.
Disney's
Probably
at least 40 million of that probably went to like season passes and all that kind
Flights
of stuff.
to Disney.
and
No,
souvenirs.
Well, 40 million and that went to taxes.
That's true.
Yeah.
Once you've made a certain amount of million, it doesn't really matter how much you have. But unless you want to buy a team or something,
Or an island.
or an island, or
Yeah.
Can we talk about his hair for a second?
his hair's crazy.
It's like a
Right.
bad Anderson Varejao.
Everywhere.
It is.
Like he needs conditioner, I think.
This is a downer, but a real quick thing. I went to I gotta wait until that's over.
Wait,
'cause
we
my
got
thing's
the dab
set.
up. Oh,
Nice.
a little
so
awkward.
awkward.
A little
Weird.
awkward.
He grabbed your
Do we do
wrist,
the
too.
click? Do we go all the way to the click?
Yeah, well, I think the video cut off. We had some good daps, some bad daps yesterday. It's tough because some people think you go for the handshake.
It's like good bet, bad bet.
But when you're asking silly questions, like I'm not going for a handshake.
No,
to
no,
end
No,
it.
no,
You
you
just
got
had
to
an
dab him up
experience.
after
You had an
that.
experience together.
But
So
you got
go
to
ahead.
signify you going for the dap, though.
Yeah, you do.
Exactly.
You got to go slow.
You got and the left hand out is recognition that you're even coming in for the pull-in.
Yeah, you pull it in.
Coming for the pull-in.
Nothing worse than this. Go for the dap. Act like you're coming at me with a dap, and I'm like, no, but I'm. And then,
then
oh
we switch.
no!
Yeah,
And then
it's
it turns into rock, paper, scissors.
I'll just
You
go home. I'll leave. I'll act like I didn't see you.
There were a couple
Ron.
handshakes in there. Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna talk to Isaiah Mobley.
Yeah.
Little Mobley, very funny guy.
Really?
Very funny guy. Yeah,
Good.
Little Mobley,
Interesting.
more entertaining than Evan.
This
Maybe
is
not
a
as
fun
good.
team. We're going to
Very
have fun
fun.
with them this year. I really think
My
we are.
running joke too is with the Mobley thing is all season long. Whenever you guys be like, I think Mobley's the best player in the league. I'll be like, which one? I'm just gonna do that the whole. Just so buckle up.
Just to keep an
Mobley?
eye out for, Jetty Osman was very entertaining.
Yeah, he's a very
Dean
good personality.
Wade, very funny guy. Dean Wade just
listen,
re-signed the
we-
He
contract.
did. He just resigned.
We cannot call him D. We gotta say his whole name. 'Cause
Yeah.
every time they say D
know.
Wade,
Yeah, no.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Karis LeVert rap
Former
for
Cavalier
us.
D Wade.
What?
Karis
We
LeVert
got
rap.
Karis LeVert to rap for us.
How was he? 1 to 10.
I mean, he recited a line from a song, but
Oh, but he didn't actually
no,
spit
he
it.
didn't like
He
spit
just,
his
that
own
don't
freestyle.
count.
okay, now that doesn't count.
Anytime you get someone to spit is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
He's
Isaac
just
Okoro was
citing
funny.
lyrics is not rapping.
No.
He dropped the bar. You say however
That's
you want.
fine.
He dropped the bar. And Donovan Mitchell and Kobe Altman. So we're gonna do Mitchell on Thursday,
All right, good.
and we'll do Altman with Brad on Friday.
Yeah,
So-
good job, guys.
Just so you know, all black people know each other. It's called collective identity. You can look it up.
I know.
we're
It's
just-
like bus drivers, you know, when
Yes.
you were in the bus and they would pass, whether they knew each other, now they do the bus
Yep.
driver
Yeah.
wave.
It's automatic.
I've been walking around with my roommate in college on campus, and he's black, and he'd walk past like a group of black guys, and they'd all be like, "Hey, what's going on? Hugs." And I'm just
Yeah.
like, "Were
You
those
know
your
him?
he's like, "I've never seen those guys before in my life," and I was not even there. It was like he was embarrassed. He'd walk like a little in front of me to
Right.
make sure, so people wouldn't think we were together, kind of thing. And I was, but I just accepted. By the end of like the run, I was just like, "All right, here comes black people. I'll wait it out," and I just like wait for them to
just
engage.
chill. Like I'm gonna just post up over
And I
here.
understood that. I get it.
It's good that you went that way as opposed to like Michael Rappaport. And,
Yes.
what's the name of that movie again?
Well, there's a bunch of them, but he's what
They're all
was
bad.
Yeah,
Higher Learning. Remember Higher
Yes,
Learning?
Higher
where
Learning.
Michael Rappaport,
That's not the only
goes
one
the
where he's
wrong way
playing.
'cause he has black
Yeah,
roommates,
yeah. So,
becomes
but,
a
yeah, I'm not
racist.
doing that.
Oh, cultural appropriation.
That's not my place. I recognize it.
All them shows are so trash.
You didn't like Higher Learning?
No.
One more. It was a different
Pretty
time.
clear on that too.
One more piece of respect for Lopez is that he knew not just Moondog, but like no offense, but like the secondary mascot,
That was
Sir
kind of crazy.
That's
like
good knowledge.
It's because he loves mascots.
Yeah, he loves
because
Disney.
he loves Disney.
Yeah.
Is it weird to have two twin grown giant men who love Disney World so much?
It is a little odd.
And that's our enforcer right now, by the way, you guys. That's technically our enforcer. And
His
he
brother was my
loves
favorite
Disney.
As
player
long as he
growing
uses
up.
his Mickey Mouse voice when he's in the paint, knocking it up, that would be great.
Hey, what are you going to do?
By the way, isn't that weird that Mike's favorite player growing up is still in the NBA?
Yeah, it is.
Brooke
very
Lopez
strange.
was my guy. I loved
Favorite
Brooke.
player growing up.
The Nets were so bad, and
Growing up,
he
he's
was
still
the
growing
only
up.
competent net
Yeah.
player for like 6 years when they were just horrendous.
Yeah, that's
So you had to celebrate
Yeah,
what
I know,
you
but
had.
that's facts, though.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you were the
yeah.
one Nets fan.
I'm a real Nets fan, yeah.
I mean, LeBron is still in the league. He came at what 01, 03?
03.
That's crazy.
It is
Yeah.
crazy.
I was still playing
Not
football
just in the
in
league,
03.
he still dominates the league.
Like, that's crazy. He still gets 30 a game.
If he wants.
Somebody need to check him.
Ready to get to some final takes here?
You bet.
Let's do it.
I'll just add it to my final take. First of all, shout out to my man Z at I can't remember what his real name was, but he had Z on his name tag. I ran him into Z at Whole Foods yesterday in Rocky River. He's a huge fan of the show. And he said, I was like, did you watch it today? He's like, no, I'm working. I'm like, get your priorities straight.
Yeah, get into your piece.
Quit your job. And,
Is that by the Chipotle in Rocky River?
No.
Okay.
There isn't a Chipotle. Oh, yeah, there is a Chipotle in Rocky River.
We live in two different area codes. Go ahead.
I mean, you live in Lakewood. It's not like, it's like you
different.
carry the way.
It's mean streets.
Mean streets of Lakewood. All right. There's a lot of people that irritate me, right, when they do certain things. People that take up 2 spots in a parking lot. You've seen those people. It's like their car is so important, we don't want to touch it.
Ding it.
People that tailgate, that drive too fast to try to get you to move over when you're not in the left lane. Like if I'm in the left lane, okay, there's a responsibility to go a certain speed. But if I'm not in the left lane, don't just pull in by. Go around me. All right? What's the matter if you're going too fast? There's a lot of jerks out there. But here's the lowest of the low. The biggest garbage human beings on the face of the earth. Well, maybe not on the face of the earth, but in this context. People that, it's bad enough I got to smell your cigarette smoke when you're next to me getting off the highway or in a parking lot. But then you throw the freaking cigarette out the window. That's disgusting. That should be automatically 1 year in jail for throwing a cigarette out the window. You're disgusting. It's a gross habit. Okay, I'm fat, but you don't have to smell my fatness. That sounds really gross.
No, it doesn't.
That sounds really gross.
Thank God for that.
And I shower twice a day, so I feel good and clean, for crying out loud. I don't want to smell your stupid cigarettes, and certainly I don't want to see them on the road. And you could throw that and might go in somebody else's car, you idiot. So to that woman who I saw getting off the highway on Detroit Road in Rocky River this morning about 8:30, 8:20, you know who you are. You threw your cigarette out the window. You're an animal. 1 year in jail.
Beautiful. Hashtag smell my fatness.
And
That was the line.
Bull is now an oligarch in Russia.
A couple of things on that. First of all, we grew up in clouds of smoke, and it is funny how it offends us now. But I like.
It is amazing, right? When I was in college, you went to a bar, you stunk.
I stayed in my
But
dorm
now I'm
room.
not used to it anybody. I don't know anybody that smokes.
Do you remember when airplanes had smoking sections?
God.
Like that air will never make it back
Spirit
here. So go ahead
Airlines
and
still
light up.
does. I think Spirit still has that. I'm kidding, they don't. But they still have the ashtrays because they're using
Coming
planes from
soon.
1989. No, but I was in a dorm room and you could smoke in the dorm room.
Yeah,
I never smoked cigarettes in my life, and I'm staying in a dorm room with a dude, and I'm on the top bunk just getting the whole
God, that's
time.
awful.
And- but I was just like, well, this is what life is.
Not anymore.
Every
You go
bar,
out to a bar and you would get like,
Come
it's
home,
like
be
smoking 3 packs of
You
cigarettes.
could
while
buy
there.
cigarettes in a bar.
I bartended for a long time. I probably took like 10 years off my life because it was pre-smoking ban. Just by just sitting in there, just inhaling it. I'd throw
your
my
lungs
clothes
have
out when I get
black
home.
spots
Oh yeah,
on
I'm
them.
dead. And that was just kids. Even at Denny's, you could just like go up and just like
wow.
smoke next to somebody. Amazing.
Yeah, like the smoking section, it would never waft
I
over
mean,
there.
honestly, you deserve it because you went to Denny's.
100%. You get anything that's coming at you from that.
Grand Slam.
And also, I understand like that fury about the people throwing the cigarettes out. That is maddening. It's very gross. I actually remember people throwing just litter out the windows too.
Drives
You'll
me
still
nuts.
see that. Just like a bag of McDonald's. Like, I'm done with this.
He's laughing as if he's done that.
Oh yeah.
No, T-Bush has not done that.
Like,
no way.
So here's what we do. We used to ride around, and if we used to take turns putting your CD in, right? Because everybody got their own mixed CD, right? And so basically, like, if your CD was trash, we would be like, hey, bro, this mix is terrible. This is from like 10 years ago. We would take the CD out, throw it out the window. We'd be like, we need to see what the streets feel about this.
So there might be CDs everywhere around
random Sony CDs everywhere, just blank CDs. Yeah, we look like the streets full.
I'll make a confession. When I was like 17, 18, there were a couple of times where friends of mine and we'd throw eggs at people from the car.
Sure.
It is messed up.
Normal stuff.
That is messed up.
He was a hoodlum. You are a menace.
I didn't wait.
I was a menace, no doubt.
I'm using my time today for my final take to talk about something and celebrate something non-sports, and I want to congratulate NASA and their DART test. Did you guys see this?
I did.
It's what happened.
Incredible.
It's the Double Asteroid Redirection Test. That's what it stands for. It's the world's first planetary defense technology demonstration. They successfully impacted an asteroid target on Monday. The agency's first attempt to move an asteroid in space. This is a protection thing that we're trying to get out in front of in case one of these babies gets a little too close to us, and we don't want to send Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck up there to take care of business.
Drill into the asteroid.
Yeah, because what if they're not ready? So essentially what this is we launched this, I don't know, years ago. I should have read better. But we launched this, and we aimed it at an asteroid that was not going to offend us in any way. This was just for a practice run.
It was a close call to Earth.
Yes.
But it wasn't going to hit us.
Wasn't going to hit us. We are literally now playing the game Asteroids from, the game Asteroids from Atari. This is really what we're playing right now. Is it going to happen? It's fine. It's number 2. It's next one. That's fine. So anyways,
there was only music. There was only music for the.
Don't worry about that. So anyways, picture the game Asteroid. Everybody look it up. Perfect. So here's the thing. I think this is awesome. Some people might consider it a bit of a waste of money. It was $324.5 million. That's a little excessive, $250 or $350 million to practice knocking an asteroid out, especially,
But an asteroid could destroy the whole Earth.
It could, but here's the thing about that, Bull. The last time that there it is. There's asteroids.
Oh, that's the color version.
Oh, yeah.
That's the color version
tech right there.
for the home video games.
So this is...
The original was black and white.
The last time that we were actually really had an asteroid that was going to be an issue, it actually wiped out the dinosaurs. That was 66 million years ago.
Yeah.
A little presumptuous of us, I feel, to assume that it's going to hit our lifespan or even like the next couple of lifespans.
And that this technology would be the best available 55 million years from now.
55 years from now, that we're just like, we better just practice throwing stuff at asteroids just in case in the next 10 years or so.
We'll have a laser by then.
So it's a little, and especially, tax dollars maybe could be better spent on the fact that there's a lot of schools in inner city Cleveland with buckets under their ceilings right now because they got leaking roofs, and we're just like, let's throw some stuff into space in case,
There's an entire city in Missouri that has brown water.
That's not great, so hard to justify, but sometimes you just have to let yourself have these ones. Didn't make a hell of a lot of sense to go to the moon when we did either, but it provides some kind of like pride in the country. And now this is what I want to point out. Thanks for showing this one to move me along. Think about poor right now. Here's what this is what this represents. Think about if for no other reason, we did spend a lot of money on this, but think about Vladimir Putin just watching us while he's struggling to make ends meet in this war so badly that there are pictures of his soldiers wearing JanSport backpacks because that is their gear.
Wow.
Russian soldiers got no drip, to be clear. So he's watching this, and he's just struggling to make ends meet. He's conscripting his countrymen, and just like who don't want to go there. And then he's like, they spent $300 million plus just to practice possibly knocking an asteroid out of space. I can't hang with the United States of America. And that's why I approve of you using that money in that way. Take that, Putin.
We're still dominant.
We may all hate each other in this country, but we're still the best.
Yes. Well, that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but I read on that. So this is the size of the Colosseum in Rome, this boulder. And I read, I wanted to know, well, did it blow it up? Now imagine, it's just a small spacecraft.
Yes. It's the size of a vending machine. Yeah. That's what it said.
So at the end of the day, they said the hope was to move it inches.
Incrementally.
Inches per second, I think.
Yep.
To knock it, like if it's a direct hit, if we hit it and it's far enough out and we move it an inch per second, it would eventually missed the planet.
Yes, it's essentially we're trying to knock a bocce ball out with another bocce ball a little bit.
Right, but then I thought this, like bocce, you don't know which way the ball's going to bounce.
Right.
What if we took an otherwise completely harmless asteroid and moved it enough to where now it is going to hit us?
It would be funny if that's what happened to us right there.
Not funny.
It would be lights out.
Funny is the right word.
We'd be a nuclear winter for 200,000 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the moment it'd be funny.
Maybe the dinosaurs would come back again.
Yeah.
They probably would and thrive.
But yeah, it is. It's just knocking it off track. It's not even like asteroids where you get to blow it up. It's just like went and glanced it, and now it's like, now I'm going to go this way a little bit.
I think 15,000 miles.
And we won't know for a year whether it actually knocked it off its track, apparently. That's when they'll get all the data back and try and figure out
Bruce,
whether it works.
I think Bruce Willis is a much better option.
Yeah. It's good to know we've got him. We've got him if we need him.
That movie is so scientifically not accurate.
Oh, it's horrible.
You can't drill on no. Never mind.
And I don't want to miss a thing.
A lot of Bruce Willis movies are scientifically inaccurate.
By the way, man, shout out to Bruce Willis. I think he's retired now. This is my final take.
Yeah, he's like sundowning.
Yeah, like he,
Liv Tyler in that movie.
Yeah, he.
Wait, can we get a shot of Bull saying that one more time?
Yeah.
Can we get a single up? No.
Liv Tyler in that movie.
Yeah. He isn't wrong.
No, I know.
Woo!
All right, D-Bush, you're on the clock, bro.
Man, listen, I'll tell you what, man. Dang, man. Nia Long, man. Man, this is crazy, bro. Yeah, this is. Now, this is nuts. It always tell you, one person's, I wouldn't say trash because then you can't say there's people's trash, but man, it's another person's treasure. Right now, Nia Long is out here. She's available, man. People from J. Cole to everybody. Now, listen, Nia Long is she birthed a generation of dudes. Between her and Halle Berry's Halle Berry, but Nia Long is still Nia Long, right? Right now, I'm just looking around. I'm like, man, listen, bro, you might want to take that year-long suspension. Just take that suspension, dog, and just keep it pushing. And here's another thing, by the way, and this is what leads me to my real final take is, you're not getting it off, dog. It's impossible. There's two things you can't do no more: cheat and get away with murder. When they came out with luminol, when they came out with all these, when the DNA test came out, listen, people they'll be like, yeah, there's gunpowder on your hands. Let me just look at. No, don't look at my hands.
Right.
You can't get rid of that. And listen, you're not getting away with cheating. It's just not possible, bro.
Too much of a betrayal.
It's like the Instagram is out there. Everything is out there. The paper trail. People grab. I left my phone at a tailgating event, right?
Oh, no.
And I had my phone out, and they said, my wife called my phone, and they was like, hey, this is Garrett's wife? Sure, we'll leave it right over here for you. And I said, now listen, this is how, if people you get caught up so easy, you're not getting that off, bro. It's not possible. The internet is undefeated, especially DMs. Screenshots came out, you're done. Just go ahead and say, listen, man, this not going to work out no more. Me and you not going to be together, and let's just move on and do other things. But if Tiger get caught, if coaches get caught, you about to get caught. It's a wrap. You can't do it no more.
No cheating.
I will tell you, off that point, this is scary.
Yeah.
A guy that's in the, I'd say he's in the technology space, but he's not a computer graphic artist, said, we were having a conversation just like this, and I said, well, she had receipts, man. She showed a DM. I won't even say who we're talking about.
Right.
It proved out to be false.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Hold on, let me see this.
Now listen, this guy said, watch this. Within 5 minutes, I'm going to show you a DM, a snapshot of a DM that never happened. Bro, they take like the head bar and put whatever content they want underneath it and married it, and he showed it to me, and I go, that's legit.
You can fake anything.
And he goes, no, it's not. I just made it within 5 minutes on my phone. Yeah. I don't know what the hell he was doing, cutting and pasting and doing all this.
Doing better than Anthony does with our graphics, I'll tell you that much.
Someone's banner, like their headline, what it would be like, what it looked like if they sent a DM to them.
Right.
And they cut and pasted with.
I'm confused. What does this have to?
Somebody got busted cheating.
Yeah.
No, I know he got busted cheating. But.
So there was a story a couple of years ago, and I didn't want to repeat it because it was proven to be not true.
It was false.
It was about a very popular professional athlete saying that he got caught up in cheating, and here's some DMs to prove it. And the DMs were allegedly provided by the woman he was cheating with. Yeah. Well, if he didn't cheat with me, why was he sending me this? So, and there was a number of pictures, and there were some text, It looked like to me, I'm not an expert in this, but I looked at it, I'm like, that's from him, and that's to her, and this dude is busted.
Isn't it weird that
But it was all fake.
Isn't it weird that we just, like, kind of society just accepts that athletes cheat on women?
Yeah.
There's a segment of the population that, and if you cross-reference this over, like extrapolate it out, everybody thinks that, well, all athletes are drive drunk. Because, we hear about the ones that do. Well, actually, the percentage of athletes that drive drunk is the same as the percentage of judges that drive drunk, and teachers, and lawyers,
but you think,
and cops.
Infidelity, you think it's the same percentage?
No, because now with that, it's all about opportunities and options. And pro athletes are presented with, you can't even imagine the options and opportunities.
That doesn't make it any.
And this segment is brought to you by cheaters.
We don't know.
understand why people get mad.
We're getting way off track here. We don't have the right information.
You're right.
We do have information on the poll. We asked YouTube who would be the first to win a championship. 44% said the Guardians.
All right.
That's shocking because usually our audiences are Browns biased.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
they are. But to your point, the Guardians are closest to it.
Yeah.
I'm real quick on my final take. Nobody knows what the NFL is. Nobody knows, and that's the way it should be. We think we know every year going into it, and then even after watching Buffalo play 2 games, I asked the question, who's going to beat Buffalo? I don't know. I don't see them. Through 3 weeks, 2 teams are 3-0. 1 team is 0-3. That means 29 of the other teams are 2-1 or 1-2. And I know it's early, but the NFL is the greatest league in pro sports because this is where Pete Rozell's ideal NFL was everybody would go 8-8. It's just mediocrity. Everybody beats everybody, and that's the way we are. That's what we are right now. We thought the Chiefs were going to roll. We thought the Bills were going to roll. Who had the Eagles and the Dolphins being the 3-0s? You can look at the Browns, and you can say the Browns could be 3-0, and the Browns could be 0-3. You could probably say that about 15 teams in the NFL. That's why it's so great. Every game seems to come down to the last possession. Even last night, the Cowboys won, but the Giants, until the late pick, were right there and had a chance. Just about every game I've watched this year has been that way. Very few blowouts. That's why we love the NFL. Every team has a solid chance every single week. It's crazy.
Really that's absolutely true. Go down and support these guys on Thursday at the Guards game. Thursday, right?
Thursday.
That's going to be great. And I know that it's already in the books. The Guards have it. But just go have fun and enjoy this young team and enjoy the 100th episode, celebrating the 100th episode of this wonderful show, which is doing it's getting good feedback. I was trapped down at tailgating on West 6th for live hits. Remember?
I saw you down there.
So I was trapped down there for like 4 hours because now we do 6 hours of news apparently on this station. So I'm just doing live hits, and it just keeps getting fuller and fuller with Browns fans and stuff. And I have a ton of people come up and mention the show and say how much they're enjoying it. So thanks everybody who stopped up and said hi.
Don't forget to subscribe,
like,
subscribe, buy T-shirts, and enjoy Earl dapping up Spider on the way out.
Yep.
Nice.
Take it full, Steve.
See you in 22 hours on the Ultimate
Shout out to the Ukrainian people kicking the Russians' ass.
Oh, we missed it. We got to play that again. Here it is.
There it is. Okay. Yeah.
First one in the building.
Here it goes. Oh, wow. This is going to be a disaster.
Oh, he went in for the full-on professional shape.
Yeah.
That's not that bad. Y'all,
He grabbed
that's not that bad.
He touched your watch too with his fingers. He was like, that's how
His
terrible
hands are
it was.
giant. There's
Touched
no
his
way.
elbow, too.
It looked worse in slow-mo.